A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
In just a moment, Suspense with William Powell.
Oh, Hap, here comes Harlow Wilcox.
No, Betty forgets I already have 2 sets of autolite resistor spark plugs and tries to high-pressure me into buying another one.
Well, hello there, friend.
Mr. Wilcox.
Hello.
Hey, Hap, you look a little worried. Car not running right, maybe?
Why?
Spark plug trouble?
Well, none at all.
Listen, pal. What you need is a set of those sensational new ignition-engineered autolite resistor spark plugs.
But Harlow,
Why, the get-up-and-go a spark-weary engine gets from autolite resistor spark plugs will turn your gloom to glee.
Look, Harlow, I already
Why, when you replace your old narrow-gap spark plugs with wide-gap autolite resistor spark plugs, by Cornelius, you can actually tell the difference in your car. Your engine idles smoother.
Harlow, wait a minute. I'll listen to you and my engine later, but...
Yes, but right now, let's listen to Suspense.
Suspense. Autolite and its 60,000 dealers and service stations bring you radio's outstanding theater of thrills. Starring tonight, William Powell in Anton Leader's production of Give Me Liberty. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I embezzled $250,000. I want you to know that needed brains, planning, patience. I devoted 3 years of my life to the trick, and I got away with it. $250,000. Of course, they caught me very easily, but they couldn't find the money. So they handcuffed me, brought me back to stand trial. The judge was as big a fool as the others.
7 years is a long time, Mr. French. The insurance company will agree to a much lighter sentence if you will reveal where you've hidden that money.
But I only smiled. So my right wrist was handcuffed to the left wrist of a detective, and they put me aboard a train bound for the penitentiary. I could see that the detective had instructions to soften me up. He was much, much too kind.
You're comfortable, Mr. French? Want a magazine? Anything?
Well, I'd like to be able to lift my hand without raising yours into the air. Can't you guard me without being quite so attached to me?
Sure, I guess we can work that out. Now, tell you what. You sit next to the window. I'll kind of box you in. And that way you can wear the cuffs all by yourself and nobody loses.
Thank you.
Let me get my key. There. Off for me, on to you.
Wonder if I've made a good change. Feels clumsy.
Oh, you get the hang of it in no time at all. The biggest trouble is when you read a paper. 5 inches of chain don't give you much room to turn a page.
And then I better leave the newspaper for a less constricting occasion. I'll have 7 years for reading.
7 years. And $250,000. Say, how smart does a guy have to be to get his hooks on so much lettuce?
Would you like some of it?
Now, you kidding.
Well, let's make a deal. You drop the key to those things on the floor, and go have yourself a nice lunch.
Sure. And when do I see Mr. French again?
When I meet you to pay off.
Uh-huh. I wouldn't be taking kind of a chance there, would I?
Stupid conversation, and I was only making words. I looked out at the fields and brooks and houses wrecking past. I wouldn't see these things for 7 years, not counting time off for good behavior. But then I'd be free again. And I'd have my $250,000. Not a bad salary, huh? I'd use my brains for myself this time. Suddenly...
Everybody all around! There's another train on the track!
You all right? See the car.
A car lay on its side, in flames. And those passengers who could move scrambled through the broken windows, paying no attention to a helpless man in handcuffs.
Frank. Give me a hand.
It was a detective. His legs pinned to the wreckage.
Move, will you? You want to see me roasted?
What can I do with my hands like this? What do you carry the key?
What do you want with a key? You can pull me up by an arm, can't you? You can grab me by the head.
You thick-headed fool, we'll both die here if I can't use my hands.
You can use them good enough.
Where's the key?
I can't find it. Frank, it ain't in my pocket. Look on the floor.
You're a liar.
Frank, my shoes are on fire. Please.
The only weapon was a suitcase.
Yeah.
I kicked him in the face. I bashed the suitcase on his head. And he didn't have the key. I emptied his pocket down to the last crumb of tobacco. But the fire crept closer. He hadn't the key to the handcuff. And I wanted it. Because this wouldn't be an escape. This would be a disappearance. Oh, what a chance. What a chance. I'd have my liberty. And I'd have my money. I threw away his pistol. I wouldn't need a gun. I used my head. Squeezed my college ring on his finger. Switch wallet.
Is there anybody in that car? He's this way. Over here.
There was a conductor out there. A crowd of passengers. I got to the side of the car. No one. Not a soul. And there wasn't a splinter of glass left in the window. I pushed down the side of the car, cleared the wheels, and struck the ground running. A few moments, a few hundred steps, and I was safe in the dark. I was free. They'd think I was dead. And I had $250,000.
Suspense, Autolite is bringing you William Powell in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Hap, my friend, have you ever heard a conversation between two cars?
Two cars? Hello, Wilcox, are you crazy?
Crazy like a fox. Listen, a sorrowful-looking sedan came up to me on the street the other day and said, "Pardon me, pal, but have you got a potent pill for a sput-puttering engine that keeps popping along on poor firing spark plugs?" Well, this car had sure come to the right man, old ALRSP Wilcox.
ALRSP?
ALRSP for Autolite Resistor Spark Plugs, of course.
Oh.
Well, before I could answer this fumbling four-door, up glides a cute coupe with a mellow murmur and says, "Say, chum, if you want to hum and hustle on the highway, if you want to idle smooth as a satin slipper, if you want better luck with lean gas mixtures, actually save gas, why, switch your narrow gap plugs for a set of those wonderful, sensational wide gap Autolite Resistor Spark Plugs. What's more," continues this chatty convertible, "Autolite Resistor Spark Plugs cut down spark plug interference with radio and television reception. Really, the spark plug of the future. Why, I was talking to a delighted television set.
Wait a minute, Harlow. Now you've got a car talking to a television set.
Why, Cornelius Hap, television sets, cars, and everybody are talking about Autolite Resistor Spark Plugs. And no wonder, because new Autolite Resistor Spark Plugs have a 10,000-ohm resistor, ignition engineered right into the spark plug, and a wider spark gap setting that means smoother idling and gas dollars saved. Autolite Resistor Spark Plugs fit any make and size of car, and don't forget, Autolite Resistor Spark Plugs are backed by the reputation of Autolite and the over 400 automotive, marine, and aviation parts made by the Autolite people. Pipe that.
Okay, but right now, let's pipe Suspense.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage William Powell as Earl French in Give Me Liberty. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
My first job after escaping was to break out of those manacles. I sat in a wheat field, holding my hands overhead so the blood would run through my hands and wrists and leave them slim. It didn't work. I tried that until my shoulders were in agony, and it didn't work. I couldn't snap the chain. I twisted. I pulled it. Tried to fling my hands apart, and it wouldn't break. I rubbed it against stones, until my skin was torn and bleeding. Then it wouldn't break. By this time it was morning, and I was pretty desperate. I found a match in my pocket. I ran into the woods that bordered the field and built a fire. First the chain grew hot, and then my wrists. But I held them over the fire until I couldn't keep back a scream. And not until then would I believe that I needed help. I pushed through the wheat and the corn beyond it, and I stumbled down a slope into a barnyard.
Down, Jack, down.
A woman was standing near one of the hen houses, a can of chicken feed in her hand.
What do you want?
There's nothing to say. She'd seen the handcuffs.
Come on, speak up.
But
What do you want?
I'm innocent, I swear to you. I'm innocent.
Where you from? How'd you get away?
Well, we were going up to the prison, and there was an accident.
Well, what do you want from me?
Could you lend me a file? And if you could spare some food, I'll be glad to
You
pay
don't
for
have to pay me for anything. Wait here. Jack, you what?
The fool went into the house, and the dog sat down on its belly and placed its nose between its paws. And its eyes never left my face for an instant. And then through the stillness, I heard the cranking of an old-fashioned wall telephone, and I knew what she was doing. I ran like a whirlwind. I couldn't get them off. I couldn't get the handcuffs off. I couldn't get anything to eat. I couldn't show myself. You know what it means to see food all about you and not be able to buy it? Don't tell me I could have eaten corn and fruit and roots. I can tell you the nature of every dog in that area, and the feel of every barbed wire fence, and the spang and roar of every rifle and shotgun. Crept into a village one night and forced up the window of a hardware store. I wanted a file, just a file. Do you know what they carry in hardware stores these days? Glassware, kitchen gadgets, garden tools, seeds, ovens, rat poisons, dressers. But then I moved behind a counter. The hardware store has to have a file somewhere. And my foot struck a wire, stepped across the floor. How tired have you been? Have you ever been so tired that your eyes felt like stones in your head? So weary that your jaw hung slack and your tongue seemed thick and heavy in your mouth? There were times when I thought I'd die. And on the evening of the fourth day of my liberty, I crawled quietly to the garbage can back of a roadside diner and began to paw about for something I could eat. But there was a step behind me. I whirled about. It was a boy. We looked at each other for a long moment. He was waiting for me to speak. I said, "Hello, Sonny.
Hello.
You live in this neighborhood?"
Yeah.
I don't. I'm traveling.
With handcuffs on?
Oh, these? Yeah, a friend put them on it for a joke. Hey, that gives me an idea, Sonny. Would you do me a big favor?
Depends upon how big.
Well, big to me, anyway. Sonny, it's worth $10 to be able to have these handcuffs off before my friend shows up. Look, can you get me a file or chop them off with an axe, something like that, so I can have a laugh on him?
No.
Look, I'll let you keep them. They're fun.
Nope.
Oh. Well, then, would you do something else for me?
Depends.
I'm a little embarrassed about going into the lunch wagon like this. Look, would you step in there and buy a few hamburgers for me?
How much?
Same $10.
For a couple of hamburgers?
Why not? Then maybe you'd change your mind about the file.
Let's see the money.
I got it right here in my pocket, ready to jump into your hand. Hey, there are lots of things that a boy can buy with $10. Ah, there we are.
How do I know it's good?
Don't you trust me?
Drop it on the ground.
Drop it? Why?
You drop it and back away. Then I'll pick it up.
Oh, hey, that's very smart. How's that? Far enough?
I guess.
He picked it up and began to walk around the diner. But when he was out of reach, he broke into a run.
Come on. If the sun gets out back, I'm going to take us out. Cousin, if this comes,
I got away. And I couldn't tear them off. I couldn't. I had $250,000 ready to weigh, and it was worthless to me. Do you know what can be bought with $250,000? Why, a man's soul can be bought for less than $250,000. And I couldn't buy a 10-cent file. I spent that night in a nest of cast-off railway ties. That's siding. I opened my eyes in the morning. I had company. There was a hobo sitting on the top of my fortress-like bedroom. A very unusual-looking hobo. In blue jeans and a navy coat. She was counting my money, smoothing each bill with loving care. She grinned when she saw I was awake.
Good morning, chum. You sleep like an honest man. What's the matter, chum? Never speak till they bring you orange juice?
Listen, I'm in trouble. I want you to help me.
To get the bracelets off?
Yeah.
Oh, chum, wouldn't that be kind of silly? I might lose all this hard-earned dough.
Look, there's more where that came from. A lot more. I'll make you rich.
Yeah, I heard that one before. So long, chum.
Listen to me. I got $250,000.
Yeah, I get feelings like that, too.
Come back, will you? It's true. Don't you read the papers? I'm Earl Flint.
I never heard of you. And where would you get that much dough?
Look, go into town and buy one of the newspapers of 6 days ago. That'll tell you.
Tell me what?
Don't people read anymore? Earl Flint, the embezzler. I stole $250,000.
And you're wearing those things so you won't pick your own pocket.
Don't try to be clever. I died in the train wreck near Scottsville.
Hey, you're so sure about that, chum. You croaked only a few days ago.
No, you fool. They only think I did. Now, you get those newspapers. You come back there with a file and some food.
No, don't order me around, chum. If you're a corpse, I won't take it from you. And if you're not a corpse, I'll poke you in the eye. Just play it easy, huh? Yeah, maybe I'll be back. Could happen.
I waited for her all through that long, blistering day. Crouching within those four walls of railway ties. I lay there like a trapped animal. And yet I knew she'd be back. She couldn't resist it. Cheap little thing like that. I knew she'd be back.
Chum, it seems you were a very important guy in your time.
You saw the papers?
Yeah, and I got good news for you. Mr. French, you're now burnt to a crisp. That's the way they found you in the train.
Recognized me by the ring on my finger?
Yeah. Oh, you're dead, all right. You and $250,000.
Well, we'll come to that later. You get to work with the file.
No. You're giving orders again, and I told you I don't like it.
Give me that file.
It's right here in my jeans. And that's where it stays until you lead me to my share of that dough.
Oh, you'll get it. You'll get it.
Chum, listen to Mama. I can pick up 506 by turning in an escaped prisoner, or you can dig up that treasure chest and buy this file for half the plunder.
It's 400 miles away.
Well, that's a fair distance.
But I can't ride a train or a bus with these on my wrist.
It's okay, chum. We'll walk.
400 miles?
Sin. I've done it before.
We'll be seen.
Not at night.
How'll I eat? Where will we sleep?
You'll sleep in the woods, and I'll bring the grub to you. Me, I'll sleep in town, where I'll be snug and safe. You don't take this file from me, chum. Not till I see my half of that dough.
And that's how it was. That same evening, we started a walk. At first, it wasn't so bad. It gave me time to think. And I knew I'd think of something.
You know, there's kind of a sneaky look about you.
What?
You figure that in 400 miles, a lot of things can happen.
Oh, no. After all, I want to do what's fair. We're split.
If we don't, I'll split your skull, and don't kid yourself that I won't, little chum. Been waiting a long time for a break like this.
We walked, with the handcuffs digging so deep into my flesh that I began to believe they were a part of me. Yeah, she brought me food, but she wouldn't come close enough to hand it to me. And every time I reached for anything, it was torture. My hands and wrists were a mass of misery, as though her pet animal on a leash. My friend always walked 6 paces behind me. She was too smart. And I realized that I had to get away from her, and soon. And the morning I decided to do it, she found me a shack to hole up in. I could hardly wait for her to leave and go back into town.
Yeah, this shack looks good. I'll meet you back here tonight.
All right. See you tonight.
That's the way I like you, chum. Nice and agreeable.
Why not? Why shouldn't I be? See you tonight, as usual.
Sure there isn't anything special you'd like me to bring you to eat?
No, nothing special.
Uh-huh. Say, chum, I think you better turn around.
Why?
It's...
Hey! When I awoke, with a dull ache filling my head, I found myself neatly trussed up. I could move a little, but not enough to get free. Talk about female intuition. She had guessed that I was going to try to get away from her, and she beat me to it. But I didn't give up, though. She'd have to make one mistake. So the next night, we stopped for a rest.
Hey, friend,
Yeah?
how can you be sure that dough is still there?
It's safe.
How do you know? What kind of a place do you hide it in?
You'll see.
Hey, don't you trust me?
Of course. As much as you trust me. And it's time we stop playing this little game. Now get out that file.
When I see the dough, little chum.
Pick them off, will you? How long do you think I'm going?
You'll wake up the neighbors. On, move.
No.
I said move.
No. That money's mine. And you'll never see it unless I want you to. And we'll go to it the way I say.
Chum, you're making me mad.
You get out that file and take these off. Go on and get it out. I can give orders, too. What do you think you are, an animal trainer?
Now, that's not a bad idea.
Is it? But it happens when I'm not an animal. And it happens that... What's that for? You can't frighten me with a knife.
I wouldn't try.
You use that on me, and we both lose out.
Whenever my old man used to teach one of us kids, he always said the same thing. He said, never use a switch thicker in your thumb, breaks the skin, but no bone. A kid can go on with it.
A switch.
Yeah, like this one. Nice and green and limber. That's all the knife is for. I wouldn't use a knife on a buddy.
You won't use that either. Put it down.
You know, this is something I wanted to do ever since I found you sleeping in those railroad ties. You gonna get up?
No.
This'll hurt.
I'll kill you someday. I swear I'll kill you.
I once had a husband like you. Brave enough outside, but once anybody put on the pressure...
You talk too much. Go on, I'm calling you bluff. I'm sick of hearing you talk.
All right.
We walked. God, how I hated her. And she? Well, she was sure she'd beat me down altogether because she didn't even bother now to taunt me anymore. She was very quiet after that. And a little careless. I'd stop now and then, and she'd bump into me in the darkness. But she'd always stop greeting before I could get my hands on her. Well, all things must end. Our pilgrimage ended one morning when I said, here it is,
What?
the money.
Where?
We're standing over it.
You up to some sneaky trick again? We're standing in the middle of a highway. You didn't do any digging here, chum.
Look, there's a culvert running under the road here. A 24-inch pipe. Come into the ditch. I'll show you.
You didn't stick that dough into the pipe. Must have washed away.
Not in the pipe. It's in a deep crevice between the pipe and the concrete. Pull out some of those stones.
You pull them out.
What, with these hands? Why, I can't touch anything without screaming. Pull them out.
Prince, help me if this is a gag.
She believed me. She had to. She saw the truth in my eyes. The money was there, my $250,000. She bent over to tug at the stones. She turned her back to me for the first time. And that was it. That was the mistake I was waiting for. A flying fall on the down on her head. My wrist! Her head! Ah, the pain! The pain on my wrist! Ah, but I didn't care! I didn't care! My hands. Covered with blood. Her blood. Mine. She was dead. But I couldn't move. My hands. My poor hands. I had to wait until the shock drained out of them. Finally, I reached into her pocket for the file. It isn't there. Oh, it must be in this one. No. 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 No file. She hasn't got a file. She never had one. Ah, the cheat. The dirty little cheat. Come on. Come on, little children. Come on. Come on, you babies. 250,000 beautiful little babies. Come on. Oh. I can't get hold on. I need a few pieces. I can't. With these handcuffs on, I need one arm free. You handcuff you. I'll break this chain if I have to rip my hands off. I'll get that money. I must have the money. I want the money. Money. It's my money.
That's the way I found him, Chief, sitting in the ditch beside a dead girl and babbling like an idiot.
Thank you, William Powell, for a splendid performance. Mr. Powell returns in just a moment.
Well, Hap, my friend, now...
Harlow, I've been trying to tell you I already have 2 complete sets of Autolite resistor spark plugs.
Congratulations. Everyone should have a complete set of Autolite resistor spark plugs. Those modern miracles of Autolite ignition engineers, those monuments to tireless Autolite research. So, friends, why not drive down to your nearest Autolite dealer tomorrow, early tomorrow, and get your car a set of Autolite resistor spark plugs. They're sensational. And not because I said so either, but because they really are. Autolite means spark plugs.
Ignition-engineered resistor spark plugs.
Autolite means batteries.
Stay full battery.
Autolite means ignition system.
The lifeline of your car.
And now here again is William Powell.
My thanks to the fine cast of Suspense actors who helped to make my appearance here so pleasant an experience. I'm a regular listener to radio's outstanding theater thrills, and I'll be tuned in next time to hear John Garfield in Death Sentence. Another gripping study in
Suspense.
William Powell appeared by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios, producers of the Technicolor production The Three Musketeers, starring Lana Turner, Gene Kelly, June Allison, and Van Heflin. Tonight's suspense play was written by Herb Meadow, with music composed by Lucien Morawek and conducted by Lutz Luskin. Ann Morrison played the part of the hobo. The entire production was under the direction of Anton M. Leader.
This is the Autolite Suspense Show. Subscribe to your local community chest. Everybody benefits. Everybody gives. Good night.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Art Obler's Plays. On the winds of the night, we bring you a story whispered in the night.
Isn't that the village?
No, I don't think so.
It is, I tell you.
But, Captain, the order says the village was won by a water hole. I see no water down there.
What is the difference?
But the orders...
I'm giving your orders. Drop down 500 feet. I don't want to miss the beggars.
As you say, Captain.
They're all the same anyway. What's the difference if it is another village? We need all our petrol to get back. All right. Level off. Hold it. 2 little presents, and home we go non-stop. I never disappoint a lady.
Should I keep circling?
Of course. Of course. This is the moment I like, Marlowe. My hand on the release lever. The leader is right. Power is the greatest thing in the world.
I know it is another village.
Marlowe, you're a fool. What difference does it make? The orders were to teach them a lesson. Well, one village is like another. Those beggars down there are of the same breed. Hold it steady. The lesson begins. There. And again. Climb!
The order said we were to machine gun the man.
Machine gun what? 2 holes in the ground. Home, you old woman. And fast. She's very pretty. And not quite a lady.
And let all the world hear the contribution of our youth to the civilizing forces is one which all history will remember. It is an evidence of the revitalization of great ideals, the true ideals of power and force
and wake up.
What do you want?
The wireless is not working again.
Huh?
If you will take over, I will fix it.
All right. Fog, huh? Marlow.
Yes, Captain.
When did the fog come up?
While you were asleep.
I do not like fog. Well, haven't you got that wireless going yet?
It is no use.
Huh?
Resistance burned out. There is nothing I can do. The fog grows thicker.
I have eyes, haven't I? Here. You take over.
I was expecting that.
Shut your mouth. Here. Take over.
All right. Captain, do you remember the time in the Plaza of Heroes they gave you a medal because...
Stop talking. Put her up high.
Might as well. No clear sky down here. Is this high enough for you, Captain? Or does it make you dizzy?
Are you out of your head?
When the fog grows very thick, you lose your head, eh, Captain?
Shut your mouth. I order it.
I was remembering something else. 6 months ago, when the Minister of War made you the captain, remember in his speech he said for courageous, skillful flying.
I warn you to stop talking.
For all these months, I have wanted to ask you one question, Vittoria. Whose was the skill and whose was the courage? Yours? Mine.
When we are on the ground...
If we are on the ground, it will be with my skill. Mine. Look. The fog grows thicker and thicker.
Stop saying that.
You can see with your own eyes. Thick fog. Our wireless dead. If I turn the plane over to you now, would you be as brave as the medal says you are?
Close your mouth. For the last time, I tell you.
The brave Captain Vittoria, who never flies alone.
Shut your mouth.
In the sun, it is your mouth that dares. In the fog, it is mine. A frightening thing, the fog, eh, Captain? Like something alive that comes out of the ground and tries to pull flyers down to the hole in hell where they come from.
There's no way to close your mouth.
Why don't you blast a few holes now through the fog so we can see where we're going?
This is the last time you fly with me, Big Mouth. The last... Marlow.
What?
Marlow, report engine.
Cut the petrol.
What?
Petrol line broken. Close the valve.
Marlow, falling.
Get away from me.
Can't see anything. The fog.
Stop pulling at me, you fool.
Marlow, get me down. I don't want to die. I can't...
No, it's not a mark. Leave me alone. I've got to see yourself. We're crashing it.
I won't die. I can't.
Quick. Look. What I saw. Yes. They're over land.
No, there is nothing.
There is land, I tell you. I saw it.
Yes. I see it. I am safe. I won't die. I will get down. I will.
Down.
We're down.
Yes.
I told you I would get you out of this. I told you. Marlow! Ahead! The wall! Stop! The wall! Stop!
Head. What? Correct. Captain. Victoria. Where? So dark. Victoria. 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 What? It's Marlow. Where are you? So dark. Oh. I see you. Bed next to me. Marlow. Victor. You all right? My legs. Legs broke. Oh.
My own pain is less now.
Oh, don't talk. Help.
No, Victoria. This kind of...
Order?
Yes, order. You don't know who I am. I'm Captain Victor.
Wait. I assure you I know your identities quite well, good gentlemen.
What do you mean?
Your identification papers were quite in order. And now a little more light, perhaps?
Yes.
That'll see you.
If you will pardon me.
No, stay. The pain.
Shut your mouth, will you? How can he help us until he brings light?
But the pain.
Pain. Did you expect to fall out of the clouds and wake up with the bands playing and a couple of women at your side?
How dare you?
You're a fool, Victor. Miracle happens to us. Smashing head on and then coming out of it with no more than broken bones. I tell you, it is a miracle.
Light.
Oh,
that is good. Only simple lanterns, but quite adequate, you will agree.
Doctor, whatever your name is, I am Captain of Aviation. An active duty for the command.
I told you. I know.
And you know your duty. Stretch my legs. You hear me?
What is your business, gentlemen?
But you said you knew who I was. My identification papers. You said
Yes,
it.
I said I knew your business, gentlemen.
Aviator. I'm Captain of...
Yes, a captain. But what is your business, Captain?
He wants to know what we do, Victor.
What is your business, gentlemen?
What is any aviator's business? To fly. But why do you stand there talking? My leg broken. Fix them.
Did you stop to fix the bones, Captain? After you dropped the bombs on them?
What do you know of that?
Your plane was smashed quite badly, gentlemen, but not completely. Yes, there were two miracles.
What do you mean?
What are you talking about?
That the crash did not kill either of you, and that one small messenger of your civilization that was strung to the belly of your plane did not blast you to death.
Bomb.
It fell to the ground undamaged, unbroken, all of its explosive virility quite intact inside of its metallic loin. Poetic that, eh?
One of my bombs.
Yes. One of your bombs. Quite unhurt.
But I'm hurt. Do you hear me? Fix my leg. Stop the pain.
But why? We here are like you, gentlemen. If bodies are broken, if pain is given, we go our calm way. We do not stop. Good day, gentlemen.
Wait. Marlowe.
Doctor.
Doctor, come back. You can't leave me. Come back. I'm hurt. In pain. Help me. Are you crazy?
Yes, Captain. Yes, indeed. I am.
All right, Victor. All right. The pain. It grows left. Pain cannot go on forever. My legs are quite numb now. Yours will become that way, too.
The devil.
Strange day, this, huh? You and I were born of the devil to smash up and have a crazy man come to our rescue.
What time is it?
Time? Who knows?
That crazy old fool. Why do you want to talk?
Do not stop asking me why again, Victor. For a night I have been thinking those whys, and I know less than when I started. The man is crazy, that's all. When one is crazy, there are no whys.
He can't keep me here. Not me. I'll kill him.
Wait. Listen.
People.
Yes. Must be a street right below the window.
Get to the window, Marlowe. Get help.
If I throw something through the glass. Yes, the lamp.
No, stop.
Huh?
You'll bring the crazy devil
It's
up here.
our only chance.
No, he'll kill us. Do not throw it.
I will.
Hit it. Yes, you did. Good, Marlowe. Good. Now, someone will come up here to help us. And that old devil
I will have him put away where he was. Huh?
Listen. I throw something through the glass, and everything below becomes quiet.
Why should that be?
Wait. Listen.
Like someone raising a ladder against the wall.
Yes.
Someone is coming. They'll help me.
Why a ladder?
You think it's the crazy?
You must have heard the glass breaking. Climbing up here to laugh at us.
No, it can't be him. My legs. I've got to have help. I'll yell. I'll scream.
Stop that! Look. Head coming up. Who?
No. No, it's not the crazy one. A girl.
Yes.
Come in, girl. Come in.
We need your help.
Yes, help. Call the police. Aviators. I am the aviator.
Come in, girl. We will not hurt you.
Don't sit there on the windowsill and stare at us, you fool. Don't you understand?
I'm Captain Victoria.
Wait, Victoria. Wait. You frighten her. Come closer, girl. Closer. Look, my watch. I will give you this watch.
Pretty. You will give it to me?
Yes, of course he will. Give it to her, Marlowe.
Here, girl.
Pretty. You have other pretty things for me?
Yes. Here. Rings. My rings. There. Take. Get help. Get me out of here.
Pretty. Oh, pretty.
You simple little fool. Try to understand. Get me help. Get me out of here.
Pretty things. I like pretty things.
We'll get you plenty of pretty things. Cover you with them.
Just go back the way you came and get help for me. Quickly.
I had so many pretty things.
Yes, but hurry, girl. Go quickly. Get me help.
I want more pretty things.
In my pocket, huh? Let's see. It hurts so to move. I have nothing. Marlowe, you give her...
Oh, you know I cannot move.
Pretty wings.
Yes, the wings on my tunic. You can have them. Here.
Pretty.
Now go. Do you hear? Go get help.
Will they take these away from me, too?
What is she talking about?
I don't know.
I had so many pretty things. They took everything away. All my pretty things. It dropped from the sky. And when it was gone, everything was gone. Everything was gone.
Stop crying. Who took what away from you?
From the sky. From the sky.
Marlowe. This one's crazy, too.
Now, good gentlemen, it is time again to talk.
I'll kill you.
You know, that's why I like you, Mallow.
Well...
Your captain is so overly dramatic. Kill you, he says to me. It is quite foolish and unnecessary, don't you think so?
You devil, you're keeping me here, not getting help. What are you trying to do? Cripple me for life?
I am doing nothing.
What are you going to do with us?
Money. I'll get you money. Just get me out of here. Money.
In this community, those silly little pieces of paper and metal are quite useless.
Are you crazy?
True enough. But haven't either of you discovered the greater truth?
Truth? What truth?
That everyone in this community is crazy.
Everyone? Crazy?
Oh, yes,
indeed. It cannot be.
But it is.
No, you're the only one.
How many times must I say it? This is my community, and we are all quite mad.
Where are we?
Or normal, all depending on the viewpoint.
Where is this place?
That's my little secret.
Secret? What do you mean?
Quite a long way from your civilization, and the high wall circles us. Remember, your airplane crashed into it?
Oh.
You see, my dear gentlemen, a long time ago, the people of what was once known as the normal world decided that I wasn't quite normal, so they were going to put me away. But I escaped them. Quite cleverly. And I decided to make a world of my own. That is, a world normal to me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's simple. In a community where all men are mad, none are mad. Understand?
Get us out of here.
Quiet, Victoria. Listen to him.
Yes, listen to me. What was I saying? Oh, yes. So I discovered this place, and I settled here. But after a while, I grew quite lonely. And I thought to myself, why shouldn't I find others like myself? People again, I use the phrase, people the so-called normal world called abnormal. But it was quite difficult to find enough of them and to get them to come to my little utopia. Until you fixed it.
We? Madman. What have we to do with you?
I mean you and your kind. Remarkable how many people in this world became abnormal as soon as your sort began to... What is the word you use? Began to enlighten the world.
Marlowe, make him stop talking.
No, I want to hear him.
Yes, hear me out. Remarkable how many people became like I am as soon as the enlightenment of brutality, of conquest and domination, and above all, the enlightenment of flying bombs came upon them. I soon had more than enough candidates for my little community. Yes, indeed.
You can't keep us here.
No, not me. You can't.
But you surprise me, good gentlemen. This is the ideal place for you. The goal you and yours have striven for. Yours.
Ours?
Marlowe.
What does he mean?
I mean that here in my little crazy town, we live and love and kill as our fancy strikes, without even the necessity of slogans and catchphrases with which to quiet the conscience. You'll want to stay with us, gentlemen.
Not me.
I won't stay here, you crazy old devil.
But are you so different, gentlemen?
That's sane.
And so am I.
But your business, Captain. Is it sane to fly the skies, to bring death to creatures made in your own image? To kill women and children?
We do our duty.
No man has a duty beyond what he knows is right. And since you do what you do, it must be because you believe it is right to kill and destroy, with no more reason than the dictum of ambitious, power-mad men. So I assure you, gentlemen, you are one of us. And so you will stay.
No, you can't keep me here.
Against our will.
Yes, your legs will mend, so you must want to stay. For if you go and give away our little secret, that would be most unfortunate for the rest of us. It's very definite, good gentlemen. You must want to stay.
Not in a mile.
Not me.
Gentlemen, good gentlemen, you make me weary and angry explaining. I tell you, you and yours are like us. The Prince of Normal Men said, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." And you say, "Blessed are they that take with force." So how can you be normal?
If I had a gun...
A gun. Now, that's another thing. The Prince of the Normal said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God." And you say, "Blessed are the war makers." Now, that proves that you're like us.
Stop it! It's out of
He
here.
said, "Blessed are they that are persecuted for righteousness' sake, and blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and say all manner of evil against you. But you are the persecutors, good gentlemen, so you are one of us. I welcome you. We all welcome you. Come in, ladies and gentlemen."
Huh? Who are they?
Tell us who are they?
They are like you, the nobility of unreason. They have come to welcome you, gentlemen.
Hello. What? So dark. Leaving it for hours. The devil in hell, what is he up to?
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth, I tell you. If I go crazy, it will be you driving me to it.
You know, the crazy one. Bringing us here and leaving us. planning our death. I know it. Marla, tell me. What are they up to?
I don't know.
What's that? What? Someone came into the room? No. Now what? Listen. I hear. Who's there? Who's there? Woman. Yes. Who are you? What do you want?
The door. What is she saying?
I don't know. She... What is it? What? Something in her arms.
I can't see anything so dark.
I'm not afraid of her. The child. The child in her arms. Oh. Come closer, woman.
What do you want her for?
She can help us. Closer. Woman, closer. Woman, stop moaning to that child and listen. Listen. Help us get out of here, and we'll give you money. We'll get...
Victor, what?
In her arms. Look.
I can't twist around my leg.
Woman, get away. Get away.
Victor, what is it? What? You said the child.
No. Woman, get away.
Tell me what?
Bomb.
Here, Bomb. You have gone mad.
No. Now see for yourself, see.
What?
The bomb he stole us sent from our plane without exploding.
Woman, get out of here with that thing. Get out.
Get out with that woman. Get out. You set it off. You get out.
No,
yes.
Wait, reason with her. Woman, what are you saying? Why do you carry that bomb?
Baby. My baby.
Baby. No, it's a bomb. You hear me? A bomb.
Baby.
Put it down. If it goes off, it will kill you.
My baby. My baby. Something fell from the sky that day.
Victoria, she's crazy too.
Oh, this is my baby now.
No.
My little baby.
No. Don't touch the percussion head. It will go off. Marla, get up. Take it away from her. My legs, I can't move her. No, don't touch it, woman. Don't.
Tonight's play, Crazy Town, was especially written for radio by Arch Obler and featured Edmund O'Brien, Charlotte Manson, Paul Stewart, John Brown, and Betty Kane. Next week, we bring to you a new play titled The Word, a strange story of a strange adventure. Arch Obler's Plays. On the winds of the night, we bring you a story whispered in the night. Arch Obler's Plays are presentations of the National Broadcasting Company, RCA Building, Radio City, New York.
Unsolved Mysteries. Out of deference to persons who may still be living, character names in some of these true unsolved mysteries have been changed. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, a remarkable and somewhat ghastly piece of fiction written by the famous Robert Louis Stevenson. Fantastic, but utterly impossible, you say. Fantastic, yes. Ghastly, yes. But impossible? No. For a Jekyll and Hyde complex was the answer to the crimes which horrified and terrified London in the late 80s. The famous Jack the Ripper murders. The scene is London. The time, evening. A thick rolling fog shrouds the Thames embankment, and the lights lining Blackfriars Bridge have a ghostly tinge. High in the fog, Big Ben booms the hour, and over at Scotland Yard, Detective Lester, hearing the familiar chime of the old bell, looks at his watch, decides that it is time to be off, and is closing his desk when the door opens, and in walk a man and a woman.
Yes? What can I do for you?
My name's Weiss, James Weiss, and yes, this is my wife.
I'm delighted to meet you. Won't you sit down?
Thank you, sir, but you see...
I made James come and see you.
Yes?
James had a dream.
Yes, one does have dreams occasionally. But are you quite certain you came to the right place? This is Scotland Yard.
Oh, yes, this is the right place. Tell them about your dream, James.
Last night it was, sir. I wakened and told my wife. I saw a murder committed.
You what?
In my dream, I mean.
Oh, I see. Well, I admit that's rather a horrible dream, but...
But it was too real. In Spitzfield it was. I could see the woman walking along, and I could see the man following her. I tried to warn her. I tried as hard as I could. It was ghastly. To watch her just walking along like everything was all right, and him creeping up behind her, and me trying to cry out and couldn't. And then he killed her. She didn't have a chance, not even a chance to scream.
Wait, you'll have me turning out the yard. You're so realistic. You'll have me believing that it happened instead of being... just a dream.
But that's just it. When James dreams things like that, they have happened.
But this time James must be wrong. Because, you see, we haven't found any murdered women in London, let alone Spitzfield.
I told you they wouldn't listen, Margaret. Let's get going.
I don't wish to appear unappreciative, but you realize, don't you, that I can't do anything? After all, what would my superiors say if I arrested someone because of a dream?
Yes, I understand. Sorry to have taken up your time.
Good night, madam.
Good night.
Next morning, Detective Inspector Lester walks into his office at Scotland Yard. He hangs up his hat and coat, seats himself at his desk, lifts up the morning report, and starts to read. Suddenly he stops. His eyes start from his head. He reads again, then turns stuttering to his secretary.
What is this, a joke?
A joke, sir?
What? Report of a woman found murdered in Spitzfield.
There's nothing to joke about there, sir. She was a horrible sight. Ripped to pieces, sir. Never even had a chance to cry out.
But it's impossible.
Impossible, sir? What's impossible about it, sir? The body's in the morgue if you want to go and look at it. Although I don't advise it, sir. It's a messy one, and I've seen lots of them.
Who investigated?
Brown, sir.
Get him in.
Yes, sir.
What time was she found?
3 o'clock.
You wanted me, sir?
Any progress on this murder in Spitzfield, Brown?
Not yet, sir.
Know who she is or was?
Oh, yes. Just one of the many women around that neighborhood at that time of night.
No motive, then, so far?
No, there isn't a clue as to who could have murdered her. Not a thing. Nobody heard a scream, although I don't think she had a chance to scream.
All right, Brown. Get hold of McCarthy and have him search London until he finds a chap by the name of James Weiss and his wife, Margaret. I want them here. I want them as quickly as you can find them.
Yes, sir.
But James Weiss and his wife Margaret were not to be found, and the body lying in the morgue was not the only one Scotland Yard was to view in the following months. London was in a state of panic. Hardly a week passed that a woman was not found brutally and horribly murdered. The newspapers called the unknown fiend Jack the Ripper, and women were advised not to walk alone after dark in the Whitechapel district, where the majority of the crimes were committed. But one day, all unmindful of the police search for him, James Weiss and his wife returned from their trip to the continent, board a bus at Notting Hill in the very heart of London.
London Borough,
Fares, please. Step forward in the bus, please. Fares, please. Tuppence to Marble Arch, sir. Yes, sir.
Why, what's the matter, James? You look ill.
I've got that feeling I had that night I had the dream.
What do you mean?
The man I saw kill the woman. He's on the bus.
Oh.
I know it. I feel it.
Look around. Get a grip on yourself.
In the opposite corner. That's the man.
Marble Arch. All out to Marble Arch.
He's getting off. Quick, James. Quick, follow him.
But the stranger got into a cab and was driven off. Weiss appealed to a policeman who only laughed at him when he asked for the stranger's arrest. That night, another Jack the Ripper murder. And in the morning's papers, Weiss reads that the police are looking for him. Before London is astir, Weiss is at Scotland Yard, and the inspector and 2 sergeants take the clairvoyant to the scene of the latest killing.
Now, Mr. Weiss, this is where the murder was committed. Do you...
Look at him. Quiet. He's going into a trance.
He's staring off into space.
He's starting to walk.
Through the maze of London's streets walks the strange group. Mile after mile, Weiss follows the psychic trail, never hesitating until they reach the West End. Then, outside an imposing house, Weiss stops, staggers. His glazed eyes turn imploringly to the inspector as again he staggers and almost falls to the ground.
Look out there. Catch him.
What's the matter? Are you all right?
In there, in that house, the murderer, the man you want, Jack the Ripper.
All right, boys. We'll take a chance. Be ready for fireworks.
Maybe we're on a wild goose chase.
Does seem kind of...
Someone's coming.
Yes, gentlemen.
We're police officers. We wish to search this house.
Come in. I suppose there's no use hiding it any longer.
Well, no, madam. No use hiding it any longer.
The doctor's insane. When he's in his right mind, he's the kindest man alive. But when this other thing takes hold of him, there's no saying what he might do. I've lived in constant dread. I've been afraid that he might even commit murder.
Then you don't know who he is? I mean, why we're here?
Who he is? Why, he's Dr. Blank. I am Mrs. Blank. He's in there.
And Dr. Blank he was, when in his right mind. But when his dual personality took hold of him, he became Jack the Ripper, a monstrous fiend who killed for the love of killing. A group of eminent British doctors examined him, and when it was definitely decided that he was insane, he was committed to an asylum, and all were sworn to secrecy. His death was announced to account for his disappearance. And surely that mock funeral attended by the prominent people of London was one of the strangest rites that old city ever witnessed. A strange, fantastic rite, and a fitting close to the unsolved mystery of Jack the Ripper. In just a moment, you will hear a solution to the clairvoyant's extraordinary trance.
We'll be back with the conclusion of this unsolved mystery right after these messages. Welcome back to Unsolved Mysteries on When Radio Was.
Ladies and gentlemen, inasmuch as any solution must of necessity be supposition, liberties of time, place, and characters have been taken in the solution for which you have been waiting. It is many years after the famous Jack the Ripper murders, and Detective Inspector Lester is discussing the Ripper case with a well-known London editor, now dead.
You see, Tom, the Ripper case isn't the only case where we've had the Yard use a clairvoyant. And this clairvoyant has helped us out when we couldn't find a starting place. Of course, well, it just doesn't do to let that sort of thing get spoken about in the papers.
What other case can you tell me of?
Well, there was the Crumbles case. We were at a dead end. A medium was consulted, and she described the murderers. But more than that, she told us where they were living. The arrest and proof were simple.
But there must be some explanation to such peculiar happenings.
Yes, there is. Look at it this way. Mediums or clairvoyants, I don't particularly care what they're called, make a practice of going into a trance so many times that they become more and more susceptible. I mean that there are times when, merely because they're not thinking about anything in particular, their minds are open to suggestion, although at that particular time they may not be aware of it.
Yes, I can understand that.
Now, here is a peculiar thing. What emotion, next to an effort to save one's life, do you think is uppermost in 9 persons out of 10 who are murdered?
Why, I never gave that a thought. What is?
An overpowering desire to have the police know who killed them. Now, that desire for, well, call it revenge, coupled with fear of discovery of the murderer, produces a tremendously powerful thought wave which is received by a clairvoyant who is receptive to suggestion at the moment.
Almost like a radio set, which has been left switched on and tuned to a station which is off the air. Suddenly the station comes on the air, and the message is received.
Pretty good explanation.
Yes, I accept all this. But how was Weiss seeing the murder at Spitzfield before it was even committed?
Weiss was more than an ordinary clairvoyant. He was fully susceptible to the subconscious mind, and the subconscious has no measurement of time. Past, present, or future is all one to the subconscious. And therefore, to the subconscious, it made no difference whether the murder was committed, was being committed, or was to be committed.
In other words, the trances that mediums have that are apparently meaningless would not be meaningless if they could be linked up with the proper time, the right place, and people affected.
Exactly. In the Jack the Ripper case, the Crumbles case, and half a hundred others that I know of, the ordinary law of coincidence permits a certain number of occurrences in which all the elements are present, and that results in a workable application of clairvoyance.
Amazing, isn't it, to think about?
Amazing, yes, because we don't understand it. But someday...
Yes?
Someday, when the police of the world wake up to the value of this study, catching criminals will be a simple matter. But when that day comes, criminals will be few and far between.
Why?
Because criminals, too, will be able to see and to know what awaits them. If not in this world, then in the next.
Sitting by the window of the streamliner as it sped through the night toward Los Angeles, Arthur Wilson seemed like any average middle-aged businessman. But there had been a time when Arthur Wilson was somebody else, Jack Foley. So it was 25 years ago, Jack Foley, now Arthur Wilson, would never forget it. The plaintive wail of the train whistle drifting back at him now somehow recalled that other time and place. Exactly as if it were now, this moment. Perhaps it was because another whistle had marked the time when it all began. The night that Jack Foley was given a chance to reach out, to grasp a new life. That night, 25 years ago, in a prison machine shop. That's all, you guy! Clean up this job! Right. So, Dave, that about does it. This truck's practically got a new motor in it. Yeah, she's in fine shape, Foley. Come on, let's get this stuff cleaned up. Foley. Yeah? The admission keys. Hand them over. Huh? Look, I don't want any trouble. Give me the keys. I'm getting out of here. Prison break. Now, wait a minute. Shut up. It's all set. Evans and Harris to buy this delivery gate. I'm picking them up with this truck and we're getting out. You want to come along? Hey, let's hold it up back there. Make up your mind, Foley, fast. The guard will be coming back here. I got to take care of him. Well, what do you say? It happened suddenly, doesn't it? A chance for freedom thrust into your hand. You have 3 more years to serve on your sentence for manslaughter. A sentence that was the result of a moment of blind, unreasoning anger. You still feel it was unjust, don't you? That the judge's decision was too harsh. And now, in an instant, it's up to you to make your own decision. Come on, Foley. Come along, all right? The guy's on his way back here now. All right. I'm with you. Let's go. Hey, the guard back there. You should have gone easier with him. Maybe I should have let you do it. Kill the guy, huh? You sure this is going to work? Stop worrying, will you? I told you I took care of everything. Look up ahead. Evans and Harris waiting. And
let the gate guard out cold. You better slow down, Dave. Still on. They'll never get it now. Swing on, you guys. We ain't stopping. It's a one-way ride and let it up. You're on a plane. It was a very different ride to this night. The ride was over, you were a free man. And Kenneth Foley, convict, became Arthur Wilson, hardware clerk of Medford, later Arthur Wilson, proprietor. You were never recognized or challenged. And now, many years later, you're able to journey toward Los Angeles to attend the wedding of your daughter, Sally. The trip is uneventful, calm, the hour before the storm, but you have no way of knowing that. And on an evening a week later, you're thinking only of Sally as you dance with her at the home of Mrs. Alice Terhune Franklin, mother of her fiancé, Stephen Franklin.
Oh, Dad, isn't it wonderful? I'm so happy.
I know you are. You show it.
I guess I do. Best part of the whole thing is you're here.
You think I'd miss it, dear? My only daughter. To think in 4 more days you'll be married.
I wish Mother could have been here.
Yes. So do I.
Do you like Stephen?
Of course. He's a great kid. Your future mother-in-law seems very nice, too.
Mrs. Franklin? Oh, she's swell, Dad. Come on, let's go join Stephen. He's in the library.
You can't leave that man of yours for 5 minutes, eh?
I'll leave him later for a dance with you.
All right, dear. Back to you, Stephen. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Enjoying yourself, sir? Yes, I'm doing fine. I'll bet you do a lot better with a little refreshment. Oh, Jameson. Yes, sir? What'll it be, Miss Wilson? Creme de menthe? A stinger? Well, what about you, Mother?
A stinger sounds exciting, but just a small one, Jameson. And please have the other served with sandwiches.
Yes, ma'am. And, you, sir? A stinger will be fine for me, too.
Bring them out on the terrace, Jameson. I want Mr. Wilson to see the way we've lighted the garden.
Oh? Now be careful of Mother, Mr. Wilson. Dangerous woman. Very.
Now you two run along and dance. Sally, take him away. I'd love to. That son of mine.
He's a fine boy.
Yes, he is. Here, we can go this way.
Oh, thank you. Hey, this is nice.
Yes. And it was a good excuse. I wanted to talk to you, Mr. Wilson, alone.
Oh?
This is rather difficult for me to talk about, Mr. Wilson, but, well, quite frankly, I'm concerned. And now I don't want you to think it's because we don't all love Sally. We do. But,
What, Mrs. Franklin?
Well, you have a hardware store, Mr. Wilson, in Medford.
Anything wrong with that?
Oh, no, not at all. I'm sure that it's a very fine store. But before that, who were you? What did you do?
Who was I?
Well, what I mean is, we know so little about you. Sally herself doesn't even seem sure. I only wondered if you...
It's quite natural that you'd wonder, Mrs. Franklin, but I can set your mind at ease. I was brought up by an uncle. Ran away like so many youngsters did in those days. Went to sea for a while.
Oh, and your uncle... where is he now?
He's dead. He's my mother's brother. As for my father, well, I scarcely remember him, but...
Mr. Wilson, I don't mean to recall unhappy moments, do you? I know you must think I'm terrible, but you see, my son...
I think I understand. I feel the same way about my daughter, Mrs. Franklin. I'm proud that she's marrying Stephen.
Thank you. And I'm sure you can see that I would at least inquire. So that the children shouldn't make a mistake that they might regret.
There would be no regret, Mrs. Franklin. No reason there should be. Believe me.
Very well, Mr. Wilson. We won't discuss it any further. And thank you. After all, the important thing is that Stephen is going to marry a fine girl.
I'm glad you feel that way about Sally.
Oh, I do. And now, if you don't mind, I'll just go back in. Stephen knows that I've been worried, and I want to tell him that everything is all right.
Well, thank you. Mind if I stay here a few minutes?
Oh, yes, do, by all means. It's so nice and quiet that gives a person a chance to think.
Yes.
Oh, and yes, Jameson. You can serve Mr. Wilson here, Jameson.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just going back inside. I'll take mine. Thank you.
I'll be along shortly, Mrs. Franklin.
All right.
Your drink, sir? Oh, yes. Thanks. Thinking of something else? Yes, I was. But it doesn't matter. I think it would, sir. To her. What are you talking about? Delightful woman, Mrs. Franklin. Pleasant, friendly. But very, very devoted to that son of hers. All she has in the world, you know. Aren't you being a little presumptuous, Jameson? Presumptuous? Oh, no, sir. Not at all. I wouldn't dare be presumptuous to one of Mrs. Franklin's guests. She could cause a lot of trouble, you know, to anyone who wasn't right in line. You're a little confusing, Jameson. Don't suppose you've been sampling these stingers? No, sir. I never drink when I've got business on my mind. But I don't want to be confusing. I want to be perfectly clear. She was asking questions, wasn't she? Want to know all about you. Now, see here, Jameson. I'm talking, sir. And you'd better listen quite carefully if you know what's good for you. Because I could break up your daughter's marriage in a minute. Mr. Jack Foley. Jack Foley? Yes, sir. We know the gentleman, don't we? Now, shall we talk about him? Or do you think Jack Foley prefers to go back behind those prison bars?
This is Alfred Hotchkiss speaking. Vaudeville is dead. And well it should be. For I have just discovered that for 200 years it went under a false name. The whole sticky mess began with a chap named Olivier Basselin, who lived in Normandy in the 15th century. This Basselin fellow wrote songs which poked fun at current events and brought him a fair amount of pay. Since he lived in the valley of the Vire, or as it was said in 15th century French, vaudeville, his compositions were called vaudeville songs. Naturally, his ballads worked their way to Paris, but the Parisians botched the whole thing. They started calling Basselin's creations vaudeville songs. This meant, of all things, Valley of the City. Plays that used such songs were called comedies with vaudeville. Later, Americans borrowed this incorrect term vaudeville to identify the kind of variety show that played the Palace. And so you see, no one should be downhearted because vaudeville is dead. It never existed at all. During all those years, it was really vaudeville. My word.
And now back to the Whistler.
Like the moment of anger that resulted in your sentence for manslaughter, more than a quarter of a century ago, when you were still Jack Foley. The sudden decision you made a few years later to join in that prison break. And now this startling recognition by a servant in the home of your daughter's fiancé, who calls himself Jameson. He can destroy everything, and your daughter Sally's coming marriage, your business in Medford. He can even brand your whole life as a masquerade. And tell them all who you really are, and send you back to prison.
Jack Foley, my old classmate. And I'm not mistaken. I've been very careful, Jack. My name is Wilson. Arthur Wilson. Sure. And mine's Jameson. Nowadays. Used to be Sanders. Remember me? 3 cells down from you. Same section. Number 34192. I don't know what you're talking about. I've lived in Medford, Oregon for a quarter of a century. I've told you my name is Wilson. I never saw you before. Aye, what a contrast in memory. Why, I recognized you instantly. But it's understandable. I was a very young man, and you only knew me a short time. You, left us rather suddenly, Jack. Stop calling me that. Sorry, sir. That's better. You know, I had called you Lucky. Lucky Jack. Now Arthur Wilson. Successful businessman, his daughter about to marry into one of the best families in the state. What are you after? Huh? Memory's getting better, isn't it? What is it? What are you after? Is this some sort of blackmail pitch you're giving me? Now, you know, that's an interesting thought. It might be if I were the man you think I am. The man I know you are. Well, if you worked here, Jameson, or Sanders, if you prefer, 6 months or so, you must be out of your mind. Suppose I happen to be Jack Foley. You think for one minute that Mrs. Franklin or anyone else would take your word for it? No, sir. Certainly not. Then what are you driving at? Why all these ridiculous suggestions? Jameson. Sir, I have what is known in the trade as a black-on-white. Surely you remember Professor Flip Dolan, Dean of Forgery? He was in another section, but in the apartment just below. I'm getting tired of this, Jameson. Great man, Professor Dolan. To the professor, any written document with a black-on-white. I have such a document regarding Foley, regarding you, sir. Yes. The light's very good out here. Oh, show it to you. But remember, the light's also too good for you to start anything. You seem to think of everything. Take a look at this and you'll really think so, sir. Yeah. The letterhead will convince you, I think. Look at it. Bureau of Identification, Washington, D.C. Department of Fingerprints. The Bureau of Identification sent my fingerprints to you. Oh, no, sir. It was the other way around. I sent your fingerprints to them. But it was quite simple. Training, you know. Well, I'm sure that as a hardware merchant you were grateful, shall I say, to our alma mater. Your work in the machine shop. I've used my training in photography to advantage many times. Taking fingerprints is a very simple process. Hold on here. Where did you get my fingerprints? Oh, they're all over the house, sir. Naturally, as a servant anxious to please, I go all over the house. I picked up your prints the first night you were here. Water glass, wine glass, knife, fork. Then I sent the photographs off to Washington. It's incredible, but true, huh? The answer here arrived this morning. The prints of Jack Foley, escaped convict, and Mr. Arthur Wilson are all exactly the same. Amazing coincidence, don't you think? What are you going to do? It's a question of what you're going to do, Jack. For me, call me Wilson, Arthur Wilson. Gladly, Mr. Wilson. You'll cooperate then? My daughter is getting married in 4 days. What is it you want? Oh, I'm very common as a blackmailer. I want money. $20,000. Might as well ask for $1 million. I haven't had more than $2,000 or $3,000 in the past 2 years. Oh, come now. A prosperous hardware merchant? I don't even own the store, James. Most of the stock is on consignment. We'll have to sell things much faster than we ever did, won't you, old chap? I can't raise that much money, James. Now, I'm the one that's getting tired. You'll raise it fully every dime, no more, no less, and I want it by Tuesday at 4 o'clock. 2 days. That's impossible. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to the police. Go right ahead. Now I'll go to Mrs. Franklin with this letter. That'll let both our futures. Then I haven't got my daughter's happiness to worry about. Tuesday at 4, sir? I better have a chance to think, at least. Certainly. Yes, I suggest it. Put on your thinking cap. Good evening. Pleasant cap. Very pleasant cap. There it is, Arthur. A demand that places your future and your daughter's happiness squarely on the block. It's all over if you don't meet Jameson's request for the money. And you haven't the slightest idea when you're going to get it, even partly. But you have to try. The next morning, from the booth in a neighborhood drugstore, you put through a call to Walter Reynolds, president of the Medford Grain Exchange Bank.
I have your party, sir. Go ahead.
Hello? Hello, Walter. This is Arthur Wilson.
Oh, yes, Arthur. What can I do for you?
Well, something's come up. I can't rinse the tales over the phone, but I've got to raise some money.
Certainly, Arthur.
It's an unusual amount,
Shall we take care of it, Arthur? We'll be
glad to clear your account with a couple of bucks. Why, it's more than that. I need 20,000, Walter. 20,000? What? You know we couldn't handle that. I know it's a great deal, and I figured that banking with you for over 20 years meant something. No, of course it does. That's why I just agreed to a couple of thousand. But 20, I can go only so far. Look, Arthur, if it'll do any good, I'll add my personal income to make it 5,000. 5,000? Is that better? I'll wire it to you down there and share the interstate cost and savings. 5,000. All right. Works, Walter. Thanks a lot. It doesn't mean much, does it? Added to your checking account and the few traveler's checks you're carrying, it's still a total of only $6,500. Jameson said 20,000. And you know that's his price for delivering you the letter from the Bureau of Identification. That's in your passport. You put through another call to your closest friend, Ward Winston, only to discover that he's away on business and can't be reached. It's $6,500 or nothing, isn't it? And the next morning, returning from the Interstate Trust Bank, you tell yourself that you're going to get that letter. Later, you're nervous and trembling as you face down the driver. You've got the money, have you? Look, James, give me a break, will you? If you only realize the money for him, I'll start talking. You can't do that. No, Gab, I don't care for myself, but it's Sally, the hospital. You can't do this, Jameson. It would ruin everything for us. I understand, Pauline. I really wouldn't want that to happen. And it won't, as long as you hand over 20,000. Well, I wasn't able to get it. You weren't able to... How much did you get? 6,500. 6,500? Well, that's absurd, Pauline. Not even half what I asked. Keep your voice down and stop calling me Pauline. Oh, I should have told you. We're practically alone. Miss Franklin went downtown. Stephen's out with you. Walter, you're not going to before that happens, James. I want that letter. Now, don't get impulsive. I'm not fool enough to get careless. Eh? Come. What's that for? Detection. I know all about you. Temper, your sudden way of doing things. They put you in jail, got you out. I don't want anything to do with that. I'll give you an idea. All right, my old darling. Come. Let's go back to fire. Come, wait, my arm. Well, after all these years, you've done it again, haven't you? You stand over him, the rage slipping away into fear. You didn't try to kill Jameson, but you could never prove it if you were found here. You shake your head, trying to clear your senses. The letter. You must get that letter. You stoop down, run into his pocket, and then turn to start out of the room. That's when you realize what Jameson meant when he said you were practically alone. There's a frightened girl standing there, still to the maid, her eyes wide, moving back and forth from you to the silent figure on the floor.
You killed him. You shot him.
It was an accident. You've got to believe me.
I saw it with my own eyes.
It was self-defense. I had to do it, Hildy. You've got to tell them that. Oh, the door. Someone's at the door. Stall them, Hilda. Try to send them away. I've got to have time to get them off.
So you're killing with my own eyes, I did.
Nice to see Mr. Jamison, please. I'm police at home.
He's in there.
Mr. Jamison?
He's Mr. Wilson. That's Mr. Jamison on the floor.
He's dead?
Yes. Mr. Wilson there just killed him. I saw it with my own eyes, I did.
Well, what do you know? I come to pick up a blackmailer and catch a killer right in the act.
He's done a letter from Mr. Jameson's inside pocket. I saw him from it. With my own eyes.
Let's have it, Wilson. Bureau of Identification, Washington, D.C. This letter must have meant a lot to you, Wilson. Come on, let's go. The listener will return in just a moment with the strange ending to tonight's story. A Voice of Freedom. Erwin Canham, editor, Christian Science Monitor. Liberty is not merely a political value. It has a deep spiritual base. To help preserve liberty and law, we must live it more effectively in our lives and our own society. It
living a double life. The end of the masquerade is Arthur Wilson, the name you took up some 25 years ago, when under your real name, Jack Bowler, you escaped from prison. And now, in a sudden moment of blind rage, you tried to disarm the butler, Jameson, who had known you in prison, a man who was blackmailing you, threatening to expose your almost forgotten past. And the struggle for the gun had ended with an explosion. Death. After a sleepless night in your cell, you're taken to the office of District Attorney Grant. Your one thought is for Sally. Yes, your daughter's approaching marriage means more to you than any punishment which the District Attorney might have in mind for you. As he faces you across the table, you barely understand his words. You're thinking only of protecting Sally and her future happiness.
I sympathize with you, Mr. Wilson. Blackmail's a dirty business. But you should have let us handle it. The minute Jameson or Sanders wrote that letter to the FBI, it was all over for you. For him? That's right. Those boys down there never overlook a bet. Anytime they get a suspicious communication, they look into it. In this case, they naturally examined Sanders' notes for fingerprints. His prints were in a dozen different spots.
Sanders' prints?
Sure. On both the letter and the envelope he mailed it in. From there on, it was a cinch. We've been looking for Sanders for a long time. When the Bureau tipped us off that the butler Jameson was Sanders, I sent one of my boys out to pick him up. If you waited a few minutes, he'd been out of your hair. You should have come straight to us, Wilson.
I can see that now. Mr. Grant, could you keep this out of the papers? Keep my name covered for a couple of days until after my daughter's wedding. Then I'll play any hand you deal.
Your daughter's wedding?
Yes. You see, she's being married.
Wait a minute. I guess you haven't seen the morning papers. York Water eloped to Las Vegas, Nevada with young Franklin yesterday afternoon.
Yesterday afternoon?
Yeah. Come on, 6 o'clock. About an hour before you killed the butler. Seems the kids didn't want all the father out of a big wedding and just took things into their own hands.
That's wonderful. Wait. Does Mrs. Franklin know about me? My past?
Oh, yes. She's retained a personal attorney to represent you. She's sure of the man.
And Sally, she's satisfied?
She's quite happy. Thinks your daughter's a great girl. Too bad you've always been so impulsive, Wilson. You'd have been a lot better off if you'd have come to us right away. Even if it meant finishing your jail term.
I know. But I just had to have that letter to Jameson from the Bureau of Identification. My thought is happening.
You didn't read that letter, did you?
No, your man took it before I had a chance.
Take a look at it.
Dear Mr. Jameson, regarding the fingerprint photos accompanying your inquiry as to the further identity of Arthur Wilson, would it be assigned that information of this kind is available only to duly authorized agencies for the enforcement of the law?
Sanctum. This is Raymond, your host. We have an expert on murder here tonight. He has a rather strange idea. Something about everybody being a potential murderer. Perhaps he's right. Perhaps one of us here, right in this room, is capable of committing a murder. Take a good look at your neighbor. Maybe he's the one. Or, maybe it's you.
Unsolved Mysteries, headed by Hyman Brown, brings you one of Broadway's and Hollywood's best-known stars, Boris Karloff,
now appearing in the smash Broadway hit Arsenic and Old Lace. Tonight, Mr. Karloff appears as Herbert Lodge in Study for Murder, an original radio drama by Sigmund Miller.
In one of the cells of the death house stands a man, holding tightly onto the bars, a dazed expression on his young face. His alive and precious minutes move swiftly away. The curtain of death draws closer. It is only a few hours before his execution. Suddenly in the stillness there are footsteps. For a moment the dazed expression on Edward's face changes to fright.
Hello, Sam.
Hello.
My name's Herbert Lodge.
Are you from the governor?
No, Sam. I'm just a psychologist.
Oh.
My work is to try to keep other people from doing the things that you did. You can help me by answering a few questions.
That's not going to do me any good.
No, but you could at least help other people from making the same mistake.
I've got to get out of here. I want to live. I don't want to die.
You were never convicted of a crime before, were you, Sam?
No. No, I never even got a traffic ticket. I never harmed anyone in my life until that terrible night. You believe me, don't you?
Why, of course I do.
Please, Mr. Lodge. Please, you said you're a psychologist. Can't you do something for me? Can't you say I'm insane or something?
No, Sam, I can't. You're not insane.
But I never meant to kill her. My hands went for her throat as if they weren't my hands. It's so hard to believe. Me, who never even had a fist fight.
Very interesting. You didn't even hate your wife, did you, Sam?
No. No, I didn't hate her. She used to get on my nerves. We used to fight a lot about money. But I never hated her. She was spending more money than I earned.
She got you angry. She ridiculed your small earnings.
That's right. How did you know?
And she did that every time you had an argument about money.
Yes. I couldn't stand it anymore. I know she didn't really mean it, telling me that I didn't work hard enough, but when she told me that last time, I don't know, my hands went for her throat.
You didn't feel any kind of pity for her?
I don't want to talk anymore, please. Please leave me alone. I can't stand it.
This one question is very important. You saw her dead on the floor. What were your reactions?
For a minute, I was glad. Then suddenly I realized what I'd done and I got scared. I tried to revive her, tried to bring her back to life.
You talked to her, didn't you?
I don't remember much after that.
You feel full of remorse now, don't you?
No, I don't. I hate you. I hate everybody. Get out! Get out before I kill you, too! I'm a murderer, do you hear? I can kill everybody!
All right, Sam. Thanks very much.
We're going to have trouble taking him to the chair.
Doesn't make any difference, Warden. It'll all be over in 2 hours.
Makes a great difference. We don't want Edward's last few minutes to be agonizing terror. He was quite calm until you spoke to him.
Well, no one is ever reconciled to death. These last few minutes are really of no importance.
That's rather cold-blooded of you, Mr. Lodge.
Perhaps it is. I'd imagine you'd be just as sensible.
I prefer to think that all murderers are sick men and should be treated as such.
Oh, then perhaps we're not so far off from each other in our thinking. I'm trying to understand the disease of murder. A disease that all of us have, every one of us. You probably know that more than 2/3 of all murders are committed by what we call the average citizen. The most harmless, law-abiding man is capable of murder under certain circumstances. I'd like to observe the execution.
Well, I'm afraid I can't let you do that.
Why not? I don't understand your taking a dislike to me. Certainly I can do no harm.
Well, you can do no good, but satisfy a morbid curiosity. I really believe you'd enjoy watching a man being put to death. I don't like you, Mr. Lodge. You ought to take a good look at poor Edwards and say to yourself, there, but for how go I. Good night, sir.
Well, Margaret, Edwards has just paid with his life. I managed to get a lot of valuable information out of him before he went to pieces.
Herbert, maybe you ought to take a rest. Stop working on your book for a while. A vacation would do you good.
Well, you're not worried about me, are you, Margaret?
But no good can come of it at the rate you're going. Why, the only thing on your mind is murder.
Oh, you don't understand. I've got to know more about the desire to kill. All of us are capable of murder, and knowing that even I can commit murder fills me with a horrible fascination.
You don't know what you're saying, Herbert.
I've got to explore the whole field of crime, down every detail that leads to murder. Everyone I meet is a subject for study, and I myself am my own best subject. I've never felt so keen about anything in my life. I can't stop now.
You're playing with fire, Herbert.
Well, yes, perhaps I am. But you can't write about fire unless you've been burned.
Oh, please give it up. I don't like the underworld people you've been associating with.
You mean Whitey?
Yes. I can't stand him.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm going to see him again tonight. It's taken me a long time, but I finally succeeded in forming a tribe of my own.
A tribe? What are you talking about?
It's the underworld term for gang.
Why, you're out of your mind. You've become a gangster.
Only temporarily. But as the big brains of the mob, I'm going to see crime and murder from the first row. We're going to muscle in on some racketeers' territory.
I absolutely forbid you to do it. Oh, please, Herbert.
I've made up my mind. Don't waste your time trying to stop me, Margaret. I don't want to be unpleasant with you. So, Whitey, we're going to cut in on Cannonball Jerry's racket. He's had it too long already. It's about time it was taken away from him.
Cannonball's plenty tough. As soon as he gets wise, he's going to go gandering for us. I wouldn't like to be in front of his choppers when he's mad.
You don't have to worry about him.
No? Well, you ain't seen what he saw.
I never will. We'll get him before he knows what's happened.
You mean you're going to blast him?
That's right.
He sure took on a tall order. Who's going to do it for you?
You are, Whitey.
Oh, yeah? How are you going to get him here?
That's very easy. He's coming here.
Coming here?
I've tipped him off that a new mob is going to cut in on him. I let him find out my name and the address of this room. He ought to be here in a minute. You and Johnny are to meet him outside. He'll be coming up with the lieutenant right into a trap. But I want Cannonball Jerry brought to me alive. I don't care what happens to the trigger man.
It ain't going to be an easy job.
Well, you're not afraid, are you, Whitey?
I ain't afraid of nobody. But I've been strictly a stick-up artist. Ain't never had to bump off a guy before.
We'll take a couple of the boys with you. You won't have too much trouble. And hurry up.
All right, Cannibal, inside. What goes on here? What's your game? The boss wants to see you get in.
Oh, you must be the terrible Cannonball Jerry. Nice of you to come visiting me.
Who are you? I ain't never seen you before.
I'm the man you were going to take care of. Except that the tables are turned. Where's the trigger man, Whitey?
I had to slug him. Johnny's outside doing spot duty. In case any Joey's pals show up.
Excellent. Jerry, you've killed a lot of people in your life, haven't you?
I ain't got no beef with you.
You haven't? But didn't you come here to kill me?
No, I wasn't coming to see you. I never seen you before. You're not going to bump me.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Jerry. You're not going to leave here alive.
I wasn't going to kill you. I was only going to scare you. You got to believe me, please. Let me go. I'll never bother you.
Well. Running through the touch. breaking down completely.
Let me go. I leave the city. I never come back, I swear it.
All right, you'll leave the city and you'll never come back. Never.
Shall I let him have it now, boss? Ain't no sense in wasting time.
In a second, we'll give Cannonball a chance to compose himself.
You ain't going to get away with it. You'll be following me. You ain't going to get away with it.
Here you are, Whitey. Use this silencer. Go ahead.
No, don't shoot. Oh, okay, boy. We better get
Herbert. Is this the first man you've killed?
Yeah, it's my first.
How do you feel?
Leave me alone.
You've just ended a man's life, Whitey.
Cut it out.
Doesn't it make you feel powerful to be able to lop off 30 years of someone's life in a second?
Leave me alone, I tell you.
All right. A bit upset. But tomorrow we move in on Jerry's business. Come on. We'll go home. I hope you sleep well. As well as I will.
It's a few hours later now. In the small hours of the morning. Lodge asleep. Tosses in his bed as he hears a familiar voice.
Hello, Mr. Lodge. Huh? Who's there? It's me. Sam? Sam Edwards? How did you get here? You're dead.
Yes, I'm dead. But I came back. I thought maybe you wanted to ask me a few more questions.
You came back? Oh, it can't be. I must be dreaming.
I came back to tell you I was sorry about going to pieces. I was scared then. But I'm not scared anymore. Dead people aren't afraid.
I'm nothing to ask you anymore. You told me everything.
No, I didn't answer your last question. You asked me if I was full of remorse.
You don't have to answer that. I knew.
Remorse ate into me like acid. It was unbearable. I couldn't stand it. It drove me crazy. It made me hate myself. I just can't describe how it felt.
No, I guess that about covers everything.
It doesn't, Mr. Lodge. I was going to tell you about my last few minutes alive.
I don't want to hear anymore.
You know, Mr. Lodge, I was thinking, if you want to find out how it feels to kill someone, the best way is to do it yourself.
Do it myself? I'm no murderer.
I wasn't a murderer either until the first time. I'm a weak man, but you're a strong one. You'd enjoy it. Your conscience won't bother you.
No, I'll never kill anybody.
You never can tell. Murder. It's an experience you've never had. It's really so easy. Quiet. You won't have to ask questions. You'll know all about it yourself. You've got to do it with your own hands to know. Try it. Try it with your own hands.
Herbert, wake up. Herbert. Wake up, Herbert.
What's in my heart? Where am I? I'm dreaming. I'm having a nightmare.
I'll say you were. You kept talking in your sleep.
What? What did I say?
You kept repeating, I'm no murderer. I'll never kill anybody.
What? I've never talked in the sleep before. It's been a vivid dream.
Herbert, you've got to stop this horrible research of yours. You can't go on. You'll either get a nervous breakdown or actually kill someone. Oh, please, Herbert, I'm sorry.
None of your affair, Margaret. I've told you before not to interfere.
This is my affair. I'm not going to stand by and watch you get yourself deeper and deeper in this rotten business.
Oh, you make me tired.
Yeah, we're doing swell. I'm waiting for Johnny. We got a few more customers to visit.
Well, never mind about Johnny. I'll go with you. I'd like to see some of our clients.
Okay, suit yourself, boy. This is Peacock's place. Kind of expecting trouble from him.
Huh? What's the matter with him?
Oh, he's been beefing about losing business. Says he can't keep up with the payments for protection.
And he won't sleep after today. Come on. We'll go in. Hello, Pietro. How's business?
It's you guys again, eh?
Well, what's the matter, Pietro? Aren't you glad to see us?
No, I'm not glad to see you, you crook.
Be careful, Pietro, careful. You'll find yourself staring up at the ceiling. Now, hand over that money.
I didn't do no business today. Hey, you guys are going to make me go out of business. I can't pay no more.
Now, Mr. Pietro. Surely your life is a little more valuable than the payment. Behave yourself. Hand over the money.
Hey, all I got is $11.
I'll teach you a lesson you won't forget. We want the full amount.
I haven't got it all. You can look for yourself.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow. Come on, Whitey.
Say, what's the matter with you, boys? You almost croaked him. Yeah, we'd have had the cops down on us, sure.
Yes, I could have killed him easily. I wanted to kill him. Wanted to beat his collie.
I shouldn't have done. He'd have paid it if he'd had it.
I don't think Pietro's going to give us any more trouble. And if he does, I'll be only too glad to see him again.
Hubert, what's happened to you?
Nothing's happened to me.
You look as though you've been in a fight.
I told you it's nothing. Now stop bothering me.
Herbert, you're in trouble, I know. Please tell me. Maybe I can help.
There's nothing that you can do. I told you before. I don't want you to bother me.
I don't know what's come over you. It's just impossible to talk to you lately. You act as if you're hate.
Well, I don't like you standing around staring at me.
Ever since you got involved with those gangsters, you've begun to act like one.
I warn you, Margaret, don't make things any worse than they are.
You've become a criminal. You think like one and act like one. Keep quiet. I won't keep quiet. You've made life unbearable for me. You treat me as if I were just in your way. I don't recognize you anymore. You've become a hoodlum, a vicious, ruthless hoodlum.
Perhaps, have I? Well, then I'm going to act. Now, get out. Get out before I lose my temper completely. Get out.
You're no better than the worst of your gang. You don't know what you're doing anymore. You can
show you.
Get away from me.
Once and for all, I'll...
Get away from me.
I won't hear that silly, nagging voice of yours anymore. I'll never hear it again. Now you keep quiet. Margaret. She's just unconscious, that's all. Unconscious. Get up, Margaret. I didn't mean it. You know I didn't mean it. I just lost the temper for a minute. Say you forgive me. Please. Talk to me. I told you I was sorry.
I tried to revive her, too. Bring her back to life.
Then?
Once I started, I couldn't stop myself. I had to do it.
Yeah, I couldn't help myself.
My hands went for her throat, as if they weren't my hands.
Yes, that's it.
I didn't hate her. She got on my nerves.
Yes, I didn't hate her. I didn't. But I killed her. I killed her. I killed her. Any news, Walt?
Is there anything I can do for you, Lord?
Have you heard anything from the carpenter?
No, I haven't.
I'm really going to die? In 2 hours? I'm going to be strapped into the chair?
I'm sorry, Lodge. There's nothing I can do.
Just
like an ordinary common murderer. You'll never learn from poor Edwards. I never meant to do it. Very few murders are committed in cold blood. So you never liked me, did you? You're glad I'm going to the chair. I'm never glad to see anyone go past that door. You are. You don't want me to be safe. You want me to die. I didn't expect a man like you to go to pieces. I don't want to die. I've got to get out of here. Too late, Lodge. You learned a little too much about murder.
Mr. Lodge, you sure did learn too much about murder. You should have learned to count to 10 when angry. But anyway, I'm sure Lodge will never do it again. That next book he's going to write will be called What Happens After Your First Murder or My First 1,000 Years in the Grave. As soon as it's published, Mr. Lodge will go on a lecture tour. I hope you'll get a chance to hear him. He's really fascinating. In a repulsive sort of way. Perhaps we'll get him to speak under your sanctum. I'm sure we'll still be on the air at that time. For the present, the time has come to close the squeaking door until next week.
Till you're sure the old pal isn't going to put the arm on you to find a place to stay. Maybe lend him a $10 or so. No, I don't think. You were a little more cordial after I'd answered that question that you asked me casually. What are you doing now, Dad? Well, I said I was doing all right, and couldn't I buy you dinner? And you did come back pretty fast and say, no, dinner's on me. And we had an argument about the check. And you did, eh? We had a lot of laughs at that dinner, talking about the time, the trick presents we used to give to each other. Some of them we both liked, and some of them one disliked and the other didn't. And then the top hat she gave me for my birthday. Great laugh because I wouldn't be caught now with a buck hat on. So I gave you the silver-mounted stag and those hunting knives because you were strictly the night club type and wouldn't be caught in the woods if you were starving for that stuff. And I made you give me a penny for as a gift to me. I still have the penny for you. Lance? A million of them. It's been a long time since we saw each other, hasn't it? I've been a lot of places since then. Oh, yes, I know. You were away for a year or so. Sure. All the time. I keep track of all my especially. You know, there's so many things we didn't have a chance to talk about. You know what I mean? So many. Say, you comfortable in that chair? Please, I get nervous. I meant to ask you, you haven't been getting any jams or anything like that? I sure hope not. This was doggone repulsive. I remember how many jams I got you out of the old days. No, I'm not bragging, pal. I don't mean grateful. That was in the old days. The days when we used to be on the town together. You know, I get sentimental about it. I get to remembering things. That was the waiter in that place down there in the club. Don't go picking on my pal just because you're bigger than he is. Oh, you were always doing some fun things. I ran into him just before the war out in Toledo. I recognized him right away by that short right leg where he was broken. He didn't remember me, of course. I've changed a lot. Even you said that. Well, I've faces, like I said, seen a lot of things, done a lot of things. It's changed. Even you look different when I saw you. Oh, the waiter. Just for fun, I asked him what was the matter with his leg. That was funny hearing his side of the story when I knew the other side. He sure hated you, pal. I never heard a man cursed out so in all my life. Huh? Oh, no, he's an old man. He was an old man when he and you had to fight, don't you remember? I remember something else, too. I remembered all the stuff about it. I bet you even know what I'm doing. What was her name? Simple name, but better not to mention it. We were sitting on the steps.
I've got to tell you something.
Why not, honey?
Somebody else. Jane, I feel so miserably sorry.
Is it?
Yes. I tried not to tell you. But Jane, I can't. Oh, Jane, promise me you won't.
What can I do?
It's your best friend, Jane.
Remember what I did? Remember the note? I do. She said, I'm sure glad I made you take that penny to the honey bag. I don't anymore. It was too bad that he was supposed to go for it. Made him break it off. It was out after all. I still think she was very silly because that was just before we met. And she did look at me. I remember it so. We shook hands. All. Awesome. I guess I never told you about playing with the water.
Going skating days out on the park lake. I told her she shouldn't. That ice isn't thick enough. But she was bound and determined to go. She'll be home any minute. Why don't you walk over toward the park and see if she's on the way home?
So I did. And all the way to the park, I kept listening. I used to always listen to kids in the dark. She'd recognize it. And I met that old park policeman. Sparrow cop we used to call him, remember? She said he'd seen him and she was talking to some fellow. He didn't see who it was. Anyway, he was cold and sweet. I walked over to the lake. Big black hole in the ice. Something crooked. So I yelled for the cop and he came running to so fast and I slid out on the ice on my belly and dragged her out. I thought that was her little green beret that was floating in the cold water after I pulled her out. But it wasn't. Then the cop and I carried her over to the street for a ride. And the taxi got shut off. That was that. So she's gone. That's a long time ago. Oh, and say, talking about gag presents we used to give each other. Remember the pair of green Norwegian mittens I gave you one Christmas? I think we lost one of them. I found where the match was old stuff I was going to the next day. I mailed it to you. I guess you got it. I went out to the cemetery yesterday. are you fidgeting for then? Sit still, you make me nervous. I make you... Like the way I told you about finding you. You remember things that way, too? You remembering anything now? But what are you fidgeting for, then? Sit still, you make me nervous. I make you nervous. I didn't mean to, pal. You know what? Remember, a lot of people thought she committed suicide. I don't know any reason for her committing suicide. Do you? Unless, well, she might have been pretty upset about breaking off that deal with you and her. I wish you'd tell me something sometime. How did you break it off? Did you just tell her? Did you take one last walk in the park and say, hey, kid, it's all off? Or what? Oh, I suppose it's none of my business after all, but I wonder about things like that. I wondered so many times what she said. Did she put up a big beef about it, or did she take it well, like I had to take it when she told me about you? I'd have been willing, you know, to step up and be the big-hearted stiff and say to her, well, now, look, kid, if the deal with my pals off, I'm still sticking around. I'm all set for it if you want any part of me. Oh, no. I really loved her. But I didn't get a chance. That's why I went away, I guess. I suppose that's why I came back, too. You got that green mitten I sent you? No, I didn't put my name on the package. I figured you'd know who sent it. You got the pair now, if you kept the other one. But the one I sent you was all shrunk up. You couldn't wear it, I know. Water. That's what it is. Wool shrinks in water unless you take care of it. And I guess nobody took care of this one. It's probably been lying around in hotel dresser drawers and old suitcases for years. Anyway, you know where it's been. Say, there's something you might tell me about, too, sometime. There's a certain friend of ours. Well, I don't know how much of a friend he is, but maybe you'll know. I won't tell you his name because, as I said, I don't think it's a good idea to mention names in public like this. Say, are you going to sleep? Well, sit up and listen. We got a lot to talk about yet. Turn the radio up a little. I don't want you to miss anything. That's better. About this friend, I got a telephone call the other day, last Saturday. What are you fidgeting about? Well, light a cigarette. I got this phone call, and when I answered, the guy said...
Hello, Dane?
Hi.
Listen, Dane, maybe you think you know who this is.
Why, sure, it's Pat...
Never mind that. I'm not going to tell you who I am. For a very good reason.
Well, now, look, I can get along with anybody.
I'm not kidding, Dane. I'm not going to mention any names at all. There's a certain guy that you and I both know has been spreading a few stories that you ought to know about.
Oh, is that so?
Yes.
What kind of stories?
Where have you been the last few years?
Well, for a while, I was in the Army, 99th Division, the Bulge, Remagen Bridge, and all that.
You through that?
Are you kidding?
This friend of yours, he says you've been in the penitentiary.
He sounds like a wonderful friend.
Doesn't he?
Well, as a matter of fact, I was.
You were?
4 years.
Good Lord, Dane.
Now you're going to ask me what I was in for.
Well, I wasn't...
I had a job in a penitentiary.
What?
A job. I worked there.
Oh.
Sure.
Well, I'm sorry. Your friend probably misunderstood.
Well, I hope so.
Well, what'd you do? Not a guard.
Oh, no. I had a very special job. I'll tell you about it sometime.
Well, gee, Dane, I'm awful sorry. I've got to tell this friend of yours. Gosh, a thing like that could ruin a man.
That's right, it could. Couldn't it?
It sure could. Oh, you know, Dane, I meant well.
Sure. Thanks for calling. It's nice of you.
I'm sorry about it. I'll tell him.
No, I'll tell him when I see him, or sometime.
You mean, you know who it is?
Why, sure.
So long, Bob. And thanks anyway. I sure hope you didn't have any misunderstanding about what I've been doing, pal. Or didn't you know? Remind me to tell you sometime what my job was there. I've had some funny jobs in all these years. You wouldn't know about that, would you? You've been here all the time on the same job, making dough, and not worrying about anything. Or not worrying about much. Worries disappear sometimes over a period of years, don't they? Then they have a habit of popping up again, and sometimes they're worse than they were before you thought you'd forgotten them. Now, I hope you don't have anything like that, pal. Well, from the look on your face, I thought for a minute you might have. Well, don't worry, pal. Everything always comes out the way it ought to come out in the long run. And the fellow always gets what's coming to him. Never fails. Never fails. You know, one of the things about a guy in my setup is I got very little to worry about. Nothing can happen to me. Well, everything's happened. I'll take a fellow like you, pal. You're fairly well off. You got a lot of friends, and you're doing all right. But what if you got one of those kicks in the teeth, like a few I've had? What happens to you then? Tough thing to think about. Worry. Lie awake nights about. Me, I don't have to worry. I'm as free as the air. I've got everything I want. Or almost everything I want. Pretty soon I'll have everything, and that's that. We're neither one of us young anymore, are we? Oh, we're not old men, sure, but we aren't the fast kids we were once when we were pals together. Before she died and we kind of broke up and went our ways. Say, what time is it? Let's see your watch. Oh, time sure flies, doesn't it? I've only got a few more minutes with you, pal. Just a few more minutes. Here I stand gassing, and you're sitting there clutching that piece of paper. Look, be a pal and hang on to it for a little while yet. Just 6 or 7 minutes, as a matter of fact, and then I'll stop and you take it from there. I wanted to tell you about last Saturday, though, first. I had a couple of fellas from my old outfit to see. Well, you know us veterans. And I sat around with one of them all afternoon, knocking over bottles of beer and hashing over the bulge and some of the things they put me up to after the war. I don't usually take more than 2 beers in an afternoon, but, well, you know how it is. Or do you? No, I guess you don't. You weren't in the service, were you? I remember now. Oh, well, we can't all be heroes, I always say. The reason we sat around so long was this pal of mine out of the 99th, still something about a special job I had to do after the war up in Germany. I wasn't very anxious to have everybody in the world know about it, so I kidded about it a lot with this feather merchant we were talking to, and, well, pretty soon it was 7 o'clock, and the civilian was still asking questions with his eyes bulging out. So I had one more beer, and I went back to the hotel. And you know what? Somebody had been in my room. I tried to figure out how anybody could have got in there without the hotel people putting up a big squawk, and they said they didn't know anything about it. And then, all of a sudden, I remembered. I remembered that night I was at your house, and we ate the chicken a la king and chitted about the knife and stuff. I went back to the hotel, and I'd lost my key. Might have been in a taxi cab or someplace, I don't know where. It was a good thing the hotel people had another key for my room, even if the night clerk did beef about people losing keys. Can't get metal to make them or some long line of stuff like that, so I said, okay, bud, I'll pay you for it. Went upstairs and hit the sack. So you know what I think? Somebody either found the key or sneaked it out of my pocket someplace and decided to see what I had lying around that was worth drumming. He'd done a pretty good job of going through my bags and my dresser drawers. And the only thing that was missing was a little book of mine. A notebook, kind of a diary. Hey, where you going? Come on, sit down. No, I'll only be a few more minutes. Come on, sit down. Now, that's it. I got to pay off to all this. Oh, this is really something. Well, you comfortable now? The book wouldn't be much use to anybody but me, except for one or two especially hot parts. I hated to lose them. I was pretty griped, and I yelled for the house ticket at the hotel that he was out having a plate of pig's knuckles or a salad bowl or something, and he wouldn't be in till 10. Anyway, he wouldn't have been much good. He even looked like a house dick. So I sat down to think. Then I got up and looked for fingerprints. Penitentiary training, you know. I was in charge of the print file the first year I was there. Oh, I can lift a print with an ex-homicide bureau man. Yeah, sure, I found some. You dropped your cigarette. I stuck them in an envelope and nailed them to the tops. The mail chute was just outside my door. Everything was ducky, except for one thing. Wait till I light a cigarette. You still got that paper? Okay, I won't be long now. Now, the last thing I remember was hearing the door of the clothes closet squeak open. I started to get up, and that's when I got the knife through my back. Dead? Why, sure I'm dead. You wonder how I'm talking to you on the radio, don't you? Well, pal, you can do so many things on the radio if you're smart. Now, listen, you got that piece of paper? Good, listen now. I'm going to ask you 3 simple little questions. And when I ask you the questions in order, you answer me by reading the answers in turn off your piece of paper, okay? Okay, here we go, the first one. Is that blood on your hands? The second. Whose blood is it? And the third. Whose knife was that was left sticking in my back? Okay, pal. Your prints are down at the bureau. I'm in the morgue. The cops have got the knife. And I think somebody heard what you just said. Oh, one thing more. You were wondering what my job was at the penitentiary. I was the executioner. Comes out even, doesn't it? And isn't that somebody at your door, pal? You have been listening to Quiet Please, which is written and directed by Willis Cooper. The man who spoke to you was Ernest Chappell. And Pat O'Malley was the man on the telephone. The girl was Vicky Vola. And Mother was Charmaine Allen. Music, as usual, for Quiet Please, is composed and played by Gene Carrazzo. And now for a word about next week's Quiet Please, here is our writer-director, Willis Cooper.
Next week's story is called The Big Box. It's a story of what happened one night to a truck driver on a coast-to-coast haul that he didn't want to make.
And so, until next week at this time, I am quietly yours, Ernest Chappell.
Stay where you are. Do not break the stillness of this moment. For this is a time of mystery. A time when imagination is free and moves forward swiftly, silently. This is the haunting hour.
Tapping on the window.
Any city that marks the end of a long trail is beautiful. That is why Mexico City, even now, is like a white, majestic monument to me. For here on the sun-drenched terrace, I dare, for the first time, to look back without fear. The echo chamber in my mind is sealed, and I dare to let the past parade its antic sounds, even its tappings on the window. For now I know that tapping belongs to the past, to the places in my mind that once were dark. Yet, it was but a few days ago, back in New York, that I heard the tapping, that it came to me out of the night to shatter my reason and almost destroy me. How well I remember. Jim! Jim, wake up!
What?
Jim, please. Turn on the light.
What's the matter, Laura?
Jim, somebody was tapping on our window.
Oh, darling, for heaven's sake, you've been dreaming.
No, Jim, I heard it. I was lying here wide awake, thinking.
Laura, do you mean you haven't gone to sleep yet? What? Why, it's 2 o'clock.
I tell you, I heard it. Open the window, Jim.
No. Laura, there's nothing and no one out here. There couldn't be, darling. It's a sheer drop of 20 stories.
I heard the tapping. I know I heard it.
Laura, try to get some sleep now. And promise me you'll go around to see Dr. Simmons in the morning. He'll give you something to quiet your nerves and make you sleep.
All right, Tim. I guess I am overwrought.
You want me to leave the light on?
No. Good night, Tim.
Good night, Laura.
I tried to go to sleep, but it was no use. The tapping was real. I'd heard it there on my window. And all the memories came back. They pounded persistently against my will to shut them out. And finally, when I couldn't fight them any longer, I let them take possession to slide into the past. Back 5 years to California, to the time I thought I was so desperately in love with Courtney Lang. Courtney. I heard the tapping, Courtney. I heard it and I hated you. Hated every memory of you from that first evening we met in the little garden that separated our apartment.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't know anyone was out here.
Well, don't let me frighten you away. This garden isn't private.
Thank you. I'm Courtney Lang. That's my apartment there on the left.
I'm Laura Harding. I live here, too.
Yes, I know. I've watched you here in the garden from my window. You're very lovely.
I'll be going in now.
Oh, please don't be offended, Miss Harding. That must have sounded rather like a fresh compliment, but it wasn't meant to be. I'm an artist, and I notice beautiful things and beautiful people just as a matter of course.
I see. Still, it is getting late. I must go in.
You're not angry, then?
Of course not. Good night.
Good night, Miss Harding. I hope we'll meet again.
Several days passed, and I'd all but forgotten that chance meeting when... What's that? Who's there?
It's Courtney Lang, Miss Harding. Open the window.
Oh, what is it? You startled me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have phoned you, but this method seemed more direct.
Was something wrong?
No, far from it. In fact, this bold, unconventional summons is an invitation to a party.
I see. Or rather, I don't.
Well, I have a few friends in my apartment who are about to pass judgment on my latest painting. I'd like very much to have you join us and pass judgment, too.
Well, I don't know.
Do come. Please.
All right. I really would like to see some of your work. I'll join you in a moment. And that was how our strange love affair began. At first, I was aware only of Courtney's charm and his talent as a painter. He was handsome, self-assured, and successful. I couldn't help feeling flattered by his attentions. Then one evening, as we sat together in the garden, I had my first glimpse of the Courtney I was to learn to fear. The real Courtney.
Tired, Laura?
Oh, no. It's difficult getting used to spending a whole day in an art gallery.
What did you think of those Rover black and whites? They're really what I took you to see.
Well, frankly, I didn't like them.
No, why not?
Oh, I don't know exactly. They gave me the creeps.
I knew you'd like them.
But I didn't like them, Courtney. They were morbid and ugly. They looked like something remembered from a nightmare. Just what were they supposed to mean?
They're Rover's illustrations for a book on phobias.
Phobias? Well, I suppose that explains them, but it doesn't add to their appeal.
Rover is a master. His brush begins where the psychiatrist leaves off.
Well, that kind of probing is horrible.
No, it isn't, Laura. Every person has deep, dark recesses in his mind. Hidden, mysterious wells of doubts and fears that can be turned into sources of power, provided he isn't afraid of them.
Courtney, I've never heard you talk like this before.
You're psychic. You can understand this sort of thing.
I'm psychic? Oh, Courtney, really?
But you are. I sensed it the first time we met. You're super sensitive to things, to people, thoughts. You've got that kind of tension in your consciousness that gives you a sixth sense.
I wish I did. Maybe I'd be a more successful writer if I knew a few things other people didn't.
No, really, I'm serious, Laura. It's a trait I never fail to recognize.
You're psychic, too?
Yes. I think you've always known that. Put me to the test.
How? How can I test you?
Well, suppose you concentrate on something we both know about. Some incident or conversation, even a person we both know. Let your mind take complete hold of it for a moment and don't let go. Ready?
No. Give me time to think of something difficult. Something you won't be likely to guess. Now, let me see. All right, I'm ready.
Concentrate, then.
I am.
I've got it.
You have? What?
You were thinking of me, right?
Oh, yes, but that's just an obvious guess on your part.
No, there's more to it. You were thinking of the way I tap upon your window when I come to call for you.
Why, Courtney, that's exactly right. How did you know?
Well, it's particularly easy for me to hear any sound in a thought.
You heard the sound in my thought? The tapping?
Distinctly. You see, it's pitch dark, and your eyes have no distractions. So I didn't even have to use the thought energy to keep them closed. Want to try something else?
No, it frightens me. I don't believe in it, but I'm afraid.
It's because you don't want to recognize the psychical powers you know you have. You've been frightened and appalled by your own ability sometimes, by your hunches, your premonitions, even your dreams.
Courtney, stop. This kind of talk is nonsense.
Laura, if you are given this power to look on glory, you should be proud of it.
No, I'm not. I want to go in now, Courtney.
All right, Laura. I'll see you tomorrow evening, then.
I should have left you then, Courtney. I should have run away. I knew that you were strange and even dangerous. But I thought I loved you, and I stayed. And then one day...
I want to talk to you seriously about something, Laura.
Yes, Courtney? What is it?
I'd like to paint your portrait.
Why, Courtney, I'm really terribly flattered.
In that blue dress you wore to Florence Whitby's party the other night.
Mm-hmm. That would be perfect.
There's just one other thing, Laura. I have so many pressing commitments at present, we'll have to work whenever I can squeeze in the time.
Well, that doesn't matter at all.
Fine.
Suppose I tap on your window as a sort of signal whenever I'm free.
No, I'd rather you didn't do that. Of course, Courtney. Whenever you want me, just tap on my window and I'll be right with you. Coming, Courtney. I'll be with you in a moment, Courtney. I heard you, Courtney. I'm coming. It was during those weeks that I posed for the portrait that I began to be convinced at last that Courtney was right. That I did have a strange power in my mind to see beyond the perilous edge of reality. I began to read the books I found in Courtney's studio. Weird, twisted, mystical books. Books on spiritualism, telepathy, phobias. Books that dealt with pathology and neurology. Finally, I began to believe I understood something of Courtney's strange philosophy. The terrible dread took hold of me. I was afraid of him and of myself. And then, quite suddenly, the portrait was finished. Courtney invited a few of our friends to the unveiling. When everything was ready, he called for me.
Laura, we're ready. Come and see yourself as an artist sees you.
I'll be out in a moment, Courtney. Wait for me.
Yes, Laura.
Courtney, I'm so excited. I've never seen myself on canvas.
I'm excited too, Laura. And yet, I'm rather sad.
Why, Courtney? Don't you think the portrait's good?
No, it's not that.
What then?
I've been thinking about us, Laura, and wondering. I think you know that I've fallen deeply in love with you. So much so that I'm beginning to be afraid for us.
Afraid? Of what?
Well, all these weeks I've been tapping out a tattoo upon your window, and you've come running to me. Now the portrait's finished, and I'm wondering if you'll go on responding whenever I call.
Oh, Courtney, of course I will. Whenever your message sounds upon my window, I'll come, no matter what.
Remember this promise, Laura. When I send a message for you, you'll come, no matter what.
Now that everything is behind me, and all the ghosts of my past have been shut out, I can look back with a clear mind without being afraid. I know I fell in love with Courtney Lang before I realized what a strange person he was. I had tried to make concessions for him because he was a talented artist and the most fascinating man I'd ever known. Dark, mysterious, and challenging. He had painted my portrait, and when it was finished, he took me to his studio where some friends were gathered for the unveiling. And when they were gone, Courtney said,
"Well, darling, now that you've seen it, tell me, how do you like your portrait?"
Courtney, I'm sure it's a beautiful piece of work. Artistically, I mean. But...
But what?
Well, don't be angry with me, but it seems to me that there's something almost sinister about it. In the eyes. They're too deep, too dark. Somehow too knowing.
But that's the real you, Laura. The you I love.
Oh, Courtney, please. Let's not go through all that again. I have no special powers of mind or spirit.
I know better, Laura. Think of it. To look into a world beyond this one. A world that we can find together if you will let me take you. Laura, we have but to combine our powers and the great unknown will open up to us.
No, Courtney, no.
Help me to pierce the veil into that mystic world. We could travel on wings, Laura. Together.
Courtney, you're mad. Let me go. Courtney, please let go of my arm. I'm afraid of you.
Laura.
I'm afraid of you. I never want to see you again. I hate you. I'm afraid.
Laura, please let me talk to you. Laura, remember you gave your promise to come when I tapped upon the window for you. Laura! Laura, where are you? She's gone. But she'll come back. She'll come back.
I ran away to New York
and tried to forget Courtney. When I met Jim Ralston, suddenly everything was changed. I forgot Courtney completely in my love for Jim. We were married, Jim and I. And for almost 2 years, I was divinely happy. Then came the night I heard the tapping on my window. And I was sure that Courtney was signing his message for me. The next morning, Jim tried to convince me that the tapping was a nightmare.
Laura, let's not talk about that tapping anymore. Eat your breakfast.
I don't want anything, Jim.
Darling, you must eat. Come now, make an effort. Here, have some fruit.
All right, Jim. I'll try.
Oh, by the way, darling, remember that artist by the name of Courtney Lang you used to know in California?
Why? Why do you speak of him?
Well, there's an article in the morning paper about him.
Yes?
He died last night. Well, Laura, what's the matter?
Courtney's dead. That's what the tapping meant. I knew. Let me see the paper, Jim.
Here. Well, darling, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Courtney Lang, well-known artist, died in an automobile accident near his Los Angeles home last night at 11 o'clock. Jim, that was 2 o'clock New York time.
That's right.
It was Courtney then. He tapped for me. I knew I would have sworn my life upon it.
Laura, get hold of yourself. After all, you hadn't seen Courtney Lang for years. You told me that was all over.
He won't let me go, Jim.
Laura, I'm going to call Dr. Simmons.
No, please. I'm all right now. Really. Hello?
Hello, Laura.
Yes?
This is Florence Whitby, Laura. Do you remember me? We used to know each other on the coast.
Oh, yes, I remember.
I just read about Courtney. Isn't it tragic?
Yes, tragic.
I know how close you were to him once, Laura, so I was wondering if you'd like to go to the exhibition with me today.
Exhibition?
Yes. Courtney's works are on exhibition at the Dyckman Galleries.
I'd like to come.
Well, suppose I meet you at the gallery at 2:30,
Yes, at 2:30. I'll be there. The gallery was a haunted place. Courtney looked down upon me from every frame upon the wall. I could feel his presence all around me, his spirit reaching out for mine. Florence.
Yes, Laura?
When did you last see Courtney?
Oh, about 2 weeks ago. He oughtn't look you up here. Well, I suppose you know that he never got over you, Laura.
Yes, I know.
Oh, you should never have left him, Laura. He was lost and unhappy without you. He never gave up hope that you'd come back. I know that.
Didn't he know that I'd married Jim Ralston?
Yes, he knew. But that didn't seem to make any difference. He said there was a bond between you that nothing could break. A bond stronger than marriage or even death. Oh, look, Laura. They're giving your portrait star billing.
My portrait? Where? Where is it?
There, in the alcove.
Come with me. I want to see it.
Oh, of course. Oh, this portrait was by far the best thing Courtney ever did, Laura.
Yes, I remember every line of it. Every shadow. The eyes.
The eyes are strange, but somehow rather beautiful.
They're horrible and ugly. But they're real. They're my eyes, Florence. Look at me. Those eyes in the portrait are just like mine, aren't they?
Well, I don't know. Perhaps.
Yes, they are. I know they are. Courtney was right. He alone could see me as I really am. Oh, Courtney, I want to come back to you. I'm lost.
Laura, come, Laura. We'd better go.
I want to be with you, Courtney. I was wrong to run away. I belong with you. No one else can ever reach me or understand. Let me come to you, Courtney. Call me back.
Come away.
Courtney.
Heaven's name, Laura. People are staring.
Send your message, Courtney. I'll come this time. I'll keep my promise, Courtney. God, Courtney.
Miss?
Oh, help me, please.
This lady's
Courtney.
ill.
Courtney, call me back. Courtney!
Give me your key, Laura. I'll open the door.
Here.
Are you sure you don't want me to stay with you till Jim comes home?
No. I'm all right, Florence.
Well,
Go to bed and try to rest. Oh, I wish you'd let me call a doctor.
No. No, thank you. I'm all right.
Well, goodbye, then. I'll call you in the morning.
Yes. Goodbye. The door closed, and I was alone. I remember the thought that immediately took possession of me. I was alone, and now I had to face things as they were. I'd been a fool. All those years when I tried to live a normal life, loving Jim, hoping he'd never discover the truth, I'd been a fool. Yet I thought, I must have known that one day Courtney would find me and take me away. And I felt myself sinking deeper and deeper into his grasp. What's Courtney now? He's calling to me and I must go. I promised. I'm coming, Courtney. I'm coming. I promise I'm still and open up the window. Wait, Courtney. Wait. I can't get the window open, Courtney. Wait. Wait for me. Wait. Wait for me.
Laura, what are you doing?
I can't get the window open, Jim. Help me.
Laura, get down.
No, he's out there. Courtney, he tapped for me. There. You heard it, Jim. You heard it. The tapping. It's Courtney.
Laura.
Jim, let me go. You can't hold me any longer. Courtney, come for me. I've got to go to him. Courtney, I want to come to you, but Jim won't let me.
Laura, listen to me. I'm going to open the window now, and we'll look out together.
Open the window.
There. Do you see Courtney out there, Laura?
Courtney? Where are you, Courtney?
He isn't there, Laura. He never was.
Yes, he was. He tapped.
No. Look, this is what caused the tapping. Take a good look, Laura.
It's an aerial.
Yes, an ordinary aerial with two clamps on the end of it. When the wind was strong enough, it blew the aerial against our window and caused a tapping. Like this.
An aerial?
The wind was strong last night and again this afternoon. There, see for yourself. The wind is blowing now. Look.
And so, all the fears of the past that had been walled up inside me, the tappings on the window that to me had been living ghosts, were suddenly melted away into nothingness. The next morning, Jim and I were on the plane bound for Mexico City. I don't know how Jim managed it, but he did. During the flight, Jim was very quiet, almost despondent. But now I understand the reason for that. Jim had his own fears. This morning at breakfast, he asked me...
Laura, you're feeling much better since we arrived here, aren't you?
Yes, Jim. Much, much better.
Then may I ask you something?
Of course, Jim, anything.
Did you and I make this trip alone, Laura?
Yes, Jim. Just you and I. And that's the way it's going to be from here on in.
And Courtney Lang?
Jim, I've discovered something. The ghost of Courtney Lang was a living ghost. It's gone now. Courtney is dead. His strong spirit has found its place at last. Out there somewhere in the great unknown he loved. He'll find his peace there, Jim. I know he will.
Laura.
Come here, darling. I want to kiss you.